Hey guys, Steve here from Muscle Talks podcast. Another podcast today, and just to let you know, before we talk to Jeff Myth and learn so much about him, let me talk about Papa Macros and his giveaway we've got going in the next 6 weeks. There's $250 worth of Papa Macros coming to you just by simply ordering or being a part of the giveaway. So stay tuned. There's going to be some ads through this podcast. So we look forward to you entering this comp.
Stop scrolling. Do you want to score yourself $250 worth of Papa Macros meals? Now's your chance. Go to threeog.shop or
go to Papa Macros and use the code MuscleTalks at checkout.
Go get it now.
Look, Steve, let me clarify your words. I am a threat. I'm not joking.
No, it's
I'm
okay.
a fucking threat to anyone that stands in my way.
Yep.
I'm a fucking monster.
Yep.
That's the way I am. It's the way my dad raised me.
Yep.
And I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm a man of purpose, not pleasure. Whatever I set my mind to, I'm not going to be so arrogant to say I will conquer, because we don't know what happens in the future, but I'll fucking die trying. Go to a posing workshop at 20% body fat.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even go to the fucking beach if I didn't have an 8-pack. I'm not joking, man.
Yeah.
Training, that's like the currency in my household. You have to train. You have to get up in the morning, you have to do push-ups. And he called me into the office and he just slid an envelope across the table like this. He was too embarrassed to actually say it to me. He wasn't man enough. So I opened it up and it was a very, very small paragraph, and it said, to Jeff, you do not fit the, and I'll never forget the words because they changed my life. They made me into a multimillionaire. So I'm very thankful.
Through perseverance, discipline, and a thirst for knowledge, we can chisel our character into a masterpiece that withstands the test of time. Jeff Myth. You quoted that. That's one of your quotes, by the way.
That is correct, Steve.
Your physical fitness, your body, tells something about you. He's mystical, mysterious, having the best body in the room. Has he really got the answers to OCD, ADHD, anxiety, overthinking, sleep deprivation? Your physique is a manifestation of your mind. To have a strong mind, he emphasizes being present, face challenges, resilience, keep calm, seek knowledge. With all that good stuff, please help me welcome the man that someone dives in deep, even if he can't swim. Jeff Myth, Gold's Gym, North Sydney. Good, and you?
Pleasure to be here, mate. Thank you for having me. And let's do this, yeah?
Yeah, let's do this. Okay, I'm going to start with a quote. And you've mentioned this yourself. So go with me. It's from a philosopher, right? In the year 1519, Herman Coates arrived in the New World with 600 men. And upon arrival, he made history by burning the ships. It's a true story. This sent a clear message to all his men: there is no turning back. Also, 2 years later, Julius Caesar did the same, but only when he realized that his men were ready to retreat. It's because he saw this. He burnt the boats, so his men don't fucking retreat. So tell me, what do you think of this quote, which you've used yourself, about burn the ships?
Yeah, look, Steve, I originally heard this quote. I think I read it in a book, but it was designed by the ancient Red Indians.
Good.
They used to, go and overpopulate a land or want to conquer a new land. They'd come in their ships, they'd burn the boats, they'd take the land. So, I mean, modern day, you can interpret that in any way you want to. But for me, that really hit hard when I I decided to leave fitness first and open up my own business. And there is nothing in the world that I know better than running a gym, understanding the human nature and human psychology of why people train, how people train, and peeling back the layers of the emotional attachment that comes with even just joining up a gym, retaining your gym membership, and your general behavior in the gym. So being in a gym, I mean, there was another quote that I can relate to this, which is, if you are in a place long enough, you become it.
So is this then mention to me, because I want to go a step back and step forward in your comments. Fitness First. Tell me the association there firstly, when you said you worked there or you were there.
So look, I mean, there's a lot of different ways I could perceive it. I'm not somebody that likes to trash somebody that helped me or trash the competition, but I will say,
speak on, Billy.
I will say,
be judged.
I made a lot of great contacts there.
Good.
I trained the general public for a good 10 years there. I did very, very well as a trainer, building my profile, creating a following, and financially, I made a lot of money there.
Which Fitness First were you at?
So I started off at St. Leonard's, and then I was pushed out of there by the force of the universe, let's say, and then I was directed into North Sydney, and that was my only option there. So I needed to obviously continue my career. I never retreat, I never surrender. I got a warrior's code, mate. I'm a warrior at heart. So I chiseled out my career at North Sydney. It was a lot more challenging than St. Leonard's. I had to start from scratch. I had to lower my prices. The demographic was totally different. The club was run down when I got there in 2010. Personal trainers weren't even in uniforms. They were in thongs and singlets. But I set a new standard for the industry and that club. Eventually, we started our own following, probably a cult-like following. 4 or 5 of us there were really strong. We were like a brotherhood. We trained every day like demons. We'd tear the gym apart. And that was our only option because we understood that the club was run down and the demographic was so fucking shit. So in order for us to build our business, we worked on ourselves together. We worked as a group. We worked as a team. It was about 4 or 5 of us. We encouraged each other and, we just built our businesses that way. We all did very, very well. We all went our separate ways after that. And we've all got our own careers now in the fitness industry. Yeah.
So tell me, because I feel like I'm a good listener, with St. Leonard's and whatever was push came to shove, whatever it was, made the earth have opened up and said, you got to go.
Yep.
Are you like me? When you work, people misunderstand us as a threat rather than we set a standard that we work hard, and others around us seem to want to lazily half-ass their job, and we come in and we're threats to that little area. So I'm assuming that St. Leonard's, you put in so much hard work that hard work with others around that couldn't keep up was trying to tear maybe you down, but you can't be torn down. So you, like you said, push came to shove. The universe moved you to, say, North Sydney. North Sydney was a place where it could be helped. Along come people of like-minded, and from strength to strength to strength, you build it up and everyone prospers from that. Is that right what I'm saying, in a way?
Look, Steve, let me clarify your words. I am a threat. I'm not joking.
No,
I'm a fucking threat to anyone that stands in my way.
Yep.
I'm a fucking monster.
Yep.
That's the way I am. It's the way my dad raised me.
Yep.
And I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm a man of purpose, not pleasure. I never have chased pleasure. And whatever I set my mind to, I'm not going to be so arrogant say I will conquer, because we don't know what happens in the future, but I'll fucking die trying, put it that way.
In other words, you're a contender.
Mate, you're going to have to get through me to get to the next level. And I've been through enough in my life to be able to withstand a lot of pressure.
Well, from what I've looked at and going back, which we'll get to, I can see that. So, all right, let me start with my first question. How's the 8-week challenge going? It started the 19th of February. The unlimited access one. You've also got fucking 2 PT sessions per week, which is wow, because I know what that's quite a big thing. So tell me about. I want to know about the infrared room that you're offering too. All these things, but I just want to know how's it going.
Yeah, mate. Look, we love having challenges in the gym. We love building the community vibe, and honestly, the 8-week challenges usually appeal to people that are not members. So from a marketing perspective, I usually shoot the commercial or the offer. We sponsor the ad. And we usually get people that inquire that don't have the confidence to come into a gym, which is excellent. I love changing people's lives like that. They don't have the mental capacity to know where to start. So when they see the ad and they see it offers X, Y, and Z, they give it a crack. So when people come into my gym, and even if it's honestly one person, Steve, and we change their life, that's like $1 million to me. That's so rewarding. And I'm not being cheesy right now at all. That's why I'm in the industry, because
I can tell by your conviction. I can tell by your words. You can always tell.
yeah, no, thank you. Because look, for me, training has been the number one therapeutic thing that's balanced my life. It's taught me so much. So when people come into the gym, they just think, look, it's just a gym. You know, what can they offer me that's different? Mate, there's so much that we can offer you. I guarantee I'll have a chat to you for 5 or 10 minutes, and I'll change your whole perspective on the world of training and the world that you have been living. And it's always to better yourself. It's always to make yourself physically stronger, mentally stronger. So when the 8-week challenge guys come, it's 8 weeks, they're a new person. Literally, they are a better person of what they were before. They can't become worse. I mean, I'll be on top of them. I'm not just going to sell you a package and never, ever speak to you again. Yes, you get delegated a trainer, but I'm always at the gym. I'm always watching. I'm always checking in on you. I'm always walking over to you, making sure you're doing the exercise right. It's what I love to do. So people appreciate the value. It's all about value, mate.
Thank you everyone for supporting us on Muscle Talks podcast. What I'd really like is for you guys to hit the subscribe button. Why hit the subscribe button? It just lets us get a bigger reach, a bigger audience, and also some of the greatest guests. You've probably already seen we've had a few Olympians on, and we're striving to actually get right up there on the 1, 2s and 3s. Yes, possibly even C-Bum on here. So guys, subscribe, come on a journey with us with Muscle Talks. Now let's get back to the podcast.
Like I said to you, I know you started the 19th of Feb, so it's been going probably 2.5 weeks now, which is good. And that's why I thought, well, let's start with the first, because that's your most recent post. Next bit, you posted recently. Your physical fitness and your body always says something about you.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you walk in a room, fit and strong, healthy human being, you feel confident, happy. Everyone is going to notice you. It's like a calling card. You don't have to fucking try. Tell me about that.
So, mate, we all judge at the end of the day.
We do. I'm glad someone else said it.
Yeah.
I fucking judge every day.
We judge, and that's not a bad thing. It's
Except for Chris.
It's a survival mechanism installed in our brain.
Yeah.
I mean, if we can't judge our surroundings or our physical surroundings, then how do we survive? So when you see someone and this is no offense to anybody, but when you see somebody that hasn't taken good care of themselves, it's definitely a reflection of their mind. It has to be. When I see somebody abusing substances, drugs, smokes, alcohol, there's always an underlying factor. There's always something wrong that they're trying to mask or sedate, especially when it comes to alcohol. I've trained a lot of people, and I've got a lot of people off drugs, off alcohol, which is awesome. But we had to unlock the emotional attachment to why they are drinking or, you know, what the reason is that they can't face. So, you know, we call them demons. So I like teaching people how to face their demons, turn around, face the fucking demon, understand how to decipher it or decode it, and get to the next level of life. So when I see someone that's in good shape, I mean, it's not always the case, because you can get some people that are in great physical shape and bad mental shape. And there's always, there's always an imbalance in that person's life.
Sometimes the gym is our refuge too. Sometimes we fight demons in there.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Look, people train all for different reasons.
They do.
People train. And I was explaining this to a psychologist the other day that trains, and she was like, wow, you've got so much wisdom, Jeff. How do you know this? I said, you know, I don't have a degree in psychology, but, you know, studying human nature is something that I love to do. And when you're in a gym, I said to her, here's a really, really interesting observation I've made in the past 18 years of training. After 10 minutes of training someone, their true personality always comes out. And she was like, oh, how so? I was like, 10 minutes of training, they get a massive spike of dopamine and serotonin.
Yep.
So if you're a dickhead, if you're an arrogant prick, you're going to see that, right? So you are going to see that. The second that serotonin comes up, the second that dopamine comes up and you feel good, you get a false spike of confidence. And however your personality is taking shape, that's going to be magnified. I mean, and from a coach's point of view, when you can observe that, you know exactly what the insecurity is, because it's always going to be the opposite. Because if they're only going to feel good for that 10, 15 minutes, they're going to feel like shit, you know, 2 hours later when the dopamine, serotonin drops and the cortisol kicks in. So there's a lot of things you can diagnose hormonally just from people's mannerisms. So, yeah.
I suppose as well, I've come to think of it. Remember once upon a time they said, I think the African Americans used to say, if you've got problems, go see the barber. You get a haircut, you talk to the barber.
I haven't heard that one.
No, it was in
I get a haircut every week.
it was Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy had it was in a Coming to America and or something like that. And it said, if you have a problem, go get a haircut and talk to the hairdresser. Yeah. But I suppose your job was as well that with all the clients you spoke to, sometimes they'd open up to you when they're training. So you had to actually, not only did you have to try to fit what you needed to fit in with them in an hour, let's say that was your result was for them to be a physical change, but also a mental change.
Yeah, absolutely.
But most
it's always mental.
But they probably came in and you sometimes you had to carry the burdens with them through the workout. They had to talk about it a bit, or you had to navigate them out of the burdens. Does that make sense?
Look, it's a very, very good coach will be able to navigate through that. And the tools that you need to become a good coach isn't a Cert 3 and Cert 4.
It's not.
It's a lot of PTs are failing these days simply because they don't know how to get through the barrier of the client. They can't see through their eyes. They can't see if they're in any pain. They can't see if they're masking anything. They can't see if they have relationship issues or any type of mental health issues. So, I mean, yeah, you got to teach someone how to do a chin up, a squat, a bench press correctly, but there's so much more to it. You know, you don't completely blast a client on your first 2 or 3 sessions. You observe them, you listen to them, and it'll come out slowly what they're trying to train for. Once they build that trust and that confidence in you and they gauge you and they're like, you know what, this guy's actually an expert. I can slowly open up to him. And you start making them feel more confident within themselves, have a little bit more self-esteem. And that starts with, you know, it's not faking it till you're making it, but giving them that false sense of confidence at the start, letting them know that, you know what, buddy, that was really, really good. You know, I didn't expect that to be that good. You actually have good mobility, or you've got great flexibility. It makes them believe in themselves. So if I can spark something in that person and fuel that flame and fan that flame every single session, they're going to open up to me. And the second I really can figure out what the fuck is wrong with this person, if I can help them, I will.
Are you finding, I've got one of these questions in here, but quickly, like what the fuck's going on out there with all these trainers and they thinking they know everything? Like hear me out.
Yeah, no,
we've got people offering mental health and they're actually taking antidepressants themselves.
Yeah.
Like it's a fine, I've had moments.
Yep.
But only until I've overcome the moments and had years away from the moments that I can talk about the moments.
Absolutely.
If I come good after, you know, like let's say I've had a mental issues for 2 years and I'm a month out of beating those mental issues, I'm no expert a month out. I need to be 5 years later that turns around and tells you how I coped and how I lived after it. Everyone's coming in with all this wisdom of themselves and the gurus that they are. And I think I'll tell you something about you right now. You walk your brand, okay? That's first and foremost. We know when you hire someone, you need to see the picture. So you're telling me I could look good, you look amazing, your mindset, you're going to get me there because I don't know if you can, but looking at you, I can. Yeah. So many people just don't look the part, don't act the part, but they also don't act the part off the camera. And that's why it shocks me that there's such this lie that's going on. And we've overextended ourselves as personal trainers. We've actually believed we're these gurus and we're not. Like some people have done time. Some people have built businesses. Some people have competed. But they've built time to be able to go back and say, like you said, after 20 years of training people, I've realised the first 10 minutes. I mean, how many people know the first 10 minutes like you do? Does that make sense?
Yeah, man, absolutely. So I think you hit the nail on the head when you said they overvalue themselves as trainers.
Yes.
Sad but true, and also very dangerous for people that do invest because, you know, personal training starts from $100 to $200 an hour. Some people can't afford that luxury, but they do because they want to make a change in their life. Now, where that went wrong, I'm not going to say I think. I don't fucking think. I fucking know. So all these colleges, and I'm not going to brag any brands, but mate, you can get that qualification from a cereal box. Cert 3, Cert 4.
You pay for it.
Exactly. You pay for it. And it's the way they market it and the way they brand it. So it's like, you know, you need a new career. You're bored of being an IT or being an office worker, come and make $100 an hour. So $100 an hour is still a lot of money, even in this day and age. When I first started, I was charging $140.
Yeah.
And that wasn't a scam. People were paying that. Definitely not a scam. I believe in myself. I believe that I can charge that amount because I'm gauging it to the guys charging 110 and 120. And if I sat down and spoke to them about any type of exercise, physiology, or bodybuilding, fat loss, anything, strength training, mindset, they wouldn't understand the thing I'm saying after 1 minute.
I agree.
So you compare that to, you know, someone seeing a shrink for $250 an hour. I find more value finding a good coach. Now, yes, they are overvaluing themselves. They are acting like gurus. I mean, that's very, very dangerous because people fall for that stuff.
Well,
and the amount of horror stories I have heard with people coming to me.
I can imagine.
And the real ones like me, people are going to be hesitant. They're going to be like, no, I had a coach. He made me squat X amount of weight. I've hurt my back. Had to spend $5,000 on physio, rehab, et cetera, et cetera. But after they spend a bit of time with me, you know, 10, 15 minutes, they understand that I know exactly what I'm saying. I know how to help you. I know how to fix you. And if I can't do something, I'll tell you, because for me, it's not about getting paid. It's not about taking your money. And this is where trainers go wrong. They want to fill up their books. They want to do 30 hours a week at, you know, $100 an hour. That's $3,000. And what a great life. Yeah. Write a few copy and paste programs, run some people through a few squats and chin-ups, you know, make sure they eat their chicken and broccoli. Mate, it's not that easy. No. Having an impact on someone's life, you gotta be worth it. And it's gotta be worth that money for the customer. Now, the way you gauge that is when, you know, they have financial difficulties, you're the first person they're going to cross off the list because personal training is a luxury. If you're, you know, if you're on average wages, even if you're rich these days, interest rates gone up, etc. People are buckling down. But I've never been first on the list to cross off because I'm a necessity in that person's life. I offer that much value, and that's what I teach my coaches as well. Offer so much value that then they don't want to cross you off the list. You're going to be last. And the way you offer value is you invest in yourself. You have to make sure you don't skip a day of training. You have to make sure you're on your diet. These are all the basic physical stuff. But you also got to make sure you live and you breathe it. Like you can't go out on the weekend and get on the bags, right? As a coach, which I see all the time. It fucking pisses me off. You got to be a living embodiment of the fitness industry. You got to present yourself as a passionate person, as a fitness leader. And yeah, I am a level above you because I can do X, Y, and Z and you can't do it, but I'm here to support you and you're going to pay me and it's going to be it's worth every single dollar you're going to give me. So the amount of people they're pumping out of these colleges, mate, I used to see trainers sitting in their car eating KFC on their lunch break, and I'd just be knocking on the window, shaking my head at them.
I think the other thing is you told me your age, and so I know that you've trained for X amount of decades, right? I'm far from your level, or I could be, but I'm not today at your level. Like what I'm trying to say to you is in relation to training, physical appearance, what I've had for the last 3 decades. But the one thing is I keep showing up. And the thing is, it has always been where I've had to say no to things, the temptations, because physical appearance, food, training. Like I turned up to my daughter's first birth, ripped. I knew 8 weeks out, my daughter's going to be born. So I trained for that day. What does my daughter know what does my daughter know? I know I want to rock up as the best looking dad.
But do you know why you did that subconsciously?
Why?
I already know and I don't even know you.
Go.
Because you wanted to be a fucking great dad.
I did.
And what you know is working on yourself.
Yes.
And you know the journey of training 8 weeks, you're going to be the best version of yourself. And if you're the best version of yourself,
that's right.
You're going to be a good dad, good husband.
That's why I did it for christenings. That's why
it's not because you wanted to show your daughter your abs.
No. I just wanted to turn up the best dad. And that's what I'm saying is no one understands about certain iconic moments in their lives. There's so many that come up.
Absolutely.
And even turning to the next decade, don't you want to rock up to the next decade being you're up to optimum? You're coming into a new decade. You want to be optimum. So each decade I've hit it like on the nose. Each time, 16 weeks out. Oh, I'm overweight. 8 months out. Like we're going to do the slow processing because you have to start. And where does it start? food, lifestyle. What are you doing? What happened? So, mate, I totally understand, totally get it. Okay, I've got another one here. You posted the 5th of December, 2023.
Yep.
You found the cure, trialed on yourself for the OCD,
Absolutely.
ADHD, anxiety, overthinking, can't sleep, and 44% on the earth struggle with this, which is catecholamines, right? Responsible for human thought in the brain.
Yeah.
Right? Because I Googled it.
So I didn't actually figure this out. It
No,
would have
you, what I'm saying is you found it, hear me out, but you just said as well, you trialled it yourself.
I did, yeah.
So before you opened your mouth, you went, most would have just opened their mouths. You've gone, no, I've got to see if this thing works.
For sure.
And I saw the medication stuff. I think you get it from iHerb.
Yeah, so they're natural supplements.
Yes,
so
yes,
the way I
amino
figured
acids.
this out was I'm always trying to do extensive research for myself, my clients, family members, family and friends. I'm always trying to offer something to anybody. So if you meet me in my gym or on the side of the street, if we're going to talk shit, I'm going to start walking backwards and I'm just going to disappear. I just can't handle rubbish, small talk, right? So I'm going to offer you something valuable. You're going to offer me something valuable. And then we're going to build a network. Like if you're going to tell me about the barbecue you had on the weekend, I don't give a fuck, right?
Go on.
So this was something really interesting because I've seen it come up in the gym a lot of times. A lot of people have been telling me they can't sleep, and I try and understand, okay, so why can't you sleep? I try and do a bit of a breakdown for them. Is it this? Is it that? And it usually, most of the time, comes down to overthinking.
Nice.
Now, I did a bit of research. I don't know if you guys have heard of Gary Brecker.
Yeah, of course I have.
Biohacking. I do a bit of that
10x,
myself, right?
10x.
Great. So I do a bit of biohacking myself, trying to get my blood levels to certain ways the way I want them. Even when my doctor looks at my blood test, he's like, Jeff, is this the way you want it? I'm like, yep, that's exactly the way I want it. He's like, how do you do that? I'm like, great secrets, mate. You're not going to agree with me even if I told you.
Even the doctors don't know.
That's right. They're not even going to understand it because they're not trained that way. So, Gary Brecker's, well, it's not methodology, it's the science. He's studied that 44% of the population have a missing compound in their body, and it's responsible for human thought.
By the way,
breaking
I
down the
saved
human
that
thought.
post.
Yeah, mate,
I saved
works
it.
great.
I saved it in Muscle Talks.
Yeah.
I've never been able to get to it, but I am going to get to it. But we're here today talking
Yeah.
about it. So go ahead.
So it's pretty much two amino acids.
Yeah.
One of them's methylfolate. One of them is L-methionine.
Yep, that's what they are.
Yep. When they work together as a synergy.
Synthesize. When they synthesize.
Synthesize, that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So it's working together as a team or
Your
as a
words.
synergy. Correct. And it helps you sleep. And the way it helps you sleep is when the thought goes up into your brain, it doesn't loop. It doesn't keep going over and over and over again.
And 7 days later.
It takes 7 days to kick in.
But that's pretty quick.
And it is pretty quick. And funnily, a lot of people came up to me that already knew, that already were doing it. A lot of people with ADHD.
Yes.
That's a great medication, a natural way
Yeah. No,
to calm it down.
No, I'm definitely realizing there are a lot of certain vitamins, or call them amino acids, even in relation to gut health. I think a lot of people are not realizing a clear brain also comes from nutrition, and nutrition comes from your gut up. Muscles come from your gut up. Your heart runs from your gut. No one understands the importance of the gut. It's like the fuel to everything.
Look, if you got a bad gut, you're gonna be miserable.
Yes.
And that's not psychological. That's
I think
physical.
I was miserable when I had a bad gut, and I've really tried to fix that of late.
It's difficult. You've got to, if you feel like shit, start working on your gut health.
Yeah,
first.
most definitely. Yeah, no, I did that. But what I'm saying is I saved it way before when I first saw it, and I haven't yet invested in the products. I'll be honest with you, but yeah, it's definitely on my phone with the stuff that I resonate with. So I definitely
That's great.
resonated with that.
I'm happy you saved it.
Yeah, I did save it, man. I did, because I'm on a quest. I'm on a quest myself. I'm on a quest that I'm only just got started. 54, mate. I'll be signing checks when they're burying me.
Yeah.
I ain't stopping. Like, I won't stop. I'll do last workout before they bury me. Like, everything is, I think once you stop, you die.
Yeah.
Once you don't want to better yourself, you die. We have so many things around us, but there's so much traffic and noise that we're not.
Well, if you're not growing, you're dying.
Yeah, 100%.
Simple.
But the hardest bit is in doing what you do and we're doing what I do is it's sometimes a lonely world. You know that.
Yep.
It is a lonely world.
But lonely is good these days, man. Lonely is good.
Tell me why.
Well, look,
It is good.
You
but
discover the truth when you're alone.
It is. It's very lonely.
It's difficult to really understand your purpose, understand who's real, who's not real, when you're continuously surrounded by people, and everyone wears masks. Everyone is wearing a mask. It's not a bad thing. You do, I do, we all do. It's how we navigate. It's how we adapt. It's how we actually survive. But you know, there's so many people out there putting so much, and I know a lot of them putting so much emphasis into their social life, and it's like, mate, that's good that you think temporary joy is true happiness. Wait till something happens to you. We'll see how many mates call you. Number one. And number two, try setting yourself a goal. Just fucking dare yourself to have 12 months off and see what the fuck you can do in 12 months. Because my whole life's been that way. You know, I've got a very, very small social life. I have a very small circle and I love it. I love my work. I love my routine. I like my alone time. I put a lot of emphasis into my two boys, Jake and Jaden. They're my world. They're everything to me.
Tell me about them.
Yeah. So I've got two boys, Jake and Jaden. Abu Ali, that's their surname.
Yes, of course.
It's, they like to call themselves the junior myths. But
I love it.
So
how old are they, if you don't mind me asking?
Jake is turning 9 and Jaden is 7.
You know, I told you I have a son who's 18, but I want to do for the next 5 minutes some dad talk.
Yeah, sure. I'd love that.
Yeah. But I love, you know, I don't know about you, and I feel it's you. I'll just tell you me. I think it's my role and my duty to bring in the next gen of males to be stronger than me, to be better than me, to make more money than me, to be confident. I'm just a platform to excel. So you're going to have to come up high, but my job is to get you higher. Like, I'm not the cap. Oh, how do you feel about that in relation to my comment?
Yeah, look, I think with every father, there's obviously a generation and a legacy you want to pass on.
That's right.
I think the ultimate goal is to take as much as you can from your father that was good. Utilize it, adapt to it, weaponize it against modern day society because it's a different decade, different generation.
We have to be with it,
right? And pass the wisdom on before you pass on the wealth to your kids. Because if you don't have the wisdom, then it doesn't matter if you're worth 100 million. The money will fucking go.
So so what are your boys like, and what are you like with them?
So no, I'm very strict on them in certain ways, and then I'm just I'm their best friend. I'm a big goofball with them. But look, they got fundamentals. They know when I'm serious, I'm serious. I don't go back on my word.
The word's the most important.
Jake's 9 years old. He just got his first iPad last week, and we were forced to buy it because of the school.
Okay.
So I'm not against all of that stuff, but I'm against introducing it too fast. So I'm happy that he got onto the technology, and it's a restricted iPad. I can see everything what's going on from my phone.
Of course.
But Jake's an athlete. He plays rep soccer for Sydney Olympic.
Sydney Olympic. I tried out for them once.
Yep. And
that's a friend.
so that's a highlight for my weekend. I love watching him play. He does Muay Thai. He's been doing that since he was 4.
Nice.
I started.
Do you do Muay Thai?
Yeah, I started martial arts since I was 4.
I saw. I don't even have it as a question, but I want to now. We're on it. Yeah, you had it in your bio. Go ahead.
Yep. Jaden as well. His brother. They both do Muay Thai, kickboxing. So the martial arts, the discipline, that's their non-negotiables for me. So, you know, I'll buy them whatever they want, but the non-negotiables are they have to go to training. That's like the currency in my household. You have to train. You have to get up in the morning. You have to do your push-ups. Yeah, I mean, they're very, very physically developed for like their age. Like if I showed you a picture, you'd freak out if you saw my kids.
I want to see.
So they're very developed. Jake's very business-minded. He's already opened up a few businesses, like little avocado stores. He goes and picks the avocados off the tree and sells them on the side of the road. He made $200 last month selling avocados.
He's doing better than most.
Which is funny, but it's cute. But I think installing that business mindset in kids, teaching them that everything has to be earned. That's what I tell them, not given. You know, sometimes they're like, can I have $5 or $10? I'm like, yeah, sure. Here's 10 chores, go and do them, then I'll pay you. So
I'm not good at that, but yes, I should be, but I'm not. When I say I'm not saying my kids are spoiled, but I see your point. My one, I think when we're going to talk about martial arts, my son, he's done taekwondo, but then he's doing jiu-jitsu now. And one thing I know, his name's Yanni. One thing I know about Yanni is he's built to fight. But he doesn't want to fight in the playground. He just needs the right place to fight. So he needs to be on the mats and needs to do competitions. In other words, that's his home. Guy against guy, the mats are on the ground. Let's do it. Are you like that as well? Is that you as well?
Yeah, look, as much as I love bodybuilding, and I'll tell you this, Steve.
Yes.
And I love bodybuilding.
Yeah, I can see.
But fighting is my
it's your DNA.
It's my soul. It's my spirit.
I can see that. I can tell.
My dad's a fighter. He's always been a fighter, physically, mentally, and yeah. So that's why I think you can learn so much from fighting.
I can see it in my son. I'm not saying I'm not a fighter. Hear me out. I've done no martial arts. I think I know what I am. So I'm not. I can't even explain it to you what I am. All I know is I'll bleed. I'll limp, but you'll limp too. Like that's how it is. I probably will lose the fight, but you don't come out of it unscathed.
You've got a dog fight in you, and I think every man needs to have that. And that's
but not every man has.
I think they do genetically in their DNA. However, it's been watered down so bad in the past like 2 decades.
Yes, it has.
That
because they all talk it, but they don't know.
They've just gone weak.
Yeah, because everyone just thinks they can win. But you got to understand that in a
fight.
As
well.
They're scared.
They're scared. They're scared because they don't want to get in trouble. There's too many laws, regulations, policies against, you know.
Yeah, of course.
It's difficult for men to be the aggressive beasts that we are. And we are. It's just channeling the aggression into something productive. And sometimes you've just got to use it.
Well, the thing is, and I'm going to tell you something funny because your boys, and maybe you can resonate with this, but my son, like I said, he was 15, he went to a tournament. The BJJ coach saw him, he goes, all right, you're going into a tournament. And he fought against, because of his weight class and his height, he fought a 27-year-old. He didn't win, but he felt great. He just wanted to fight. So he doesn't fight at school, he doesn't fight in the playground, doesn't pick on anyone. He's not a bully. But once he's on the mats, he's home. I look at him, he's home, he's got to fight this guy. Even when I stand with him now, 18, I look at him, I go, fuck, I've got to, like, he's a fighter. When he's a fighter, he's a fighter. I've got to respect that. You know, I'm not here to go against him to show my testosterone on him. What I'm trying to harvest him to unleash. But when he goes to school, always when he starts the year, when I'm driving him to school, I say to him, all right, a few rules, yeah? And he goes, what are they, Dad? No, he knows them already, but what are they? I go, right. Front of the class. You sit at the front of the class. Do you understand that? That's the first rule. I don't care anything else. You are at the front of the class. With the Chinese, with everyone at the front of the class, not at the back. That's 1. 2, you get under the radar. I'm not asking you to not be with your friends, but when they're talking stupid, you might nod your head, but inside your heart and your mind, you're not that. That's 2. And the third one I say to him is, remember your longest reach. So when they come at you, you hit them. So they're the 3 things every year. Your longest reach. I always laugh with that one. I think, well, that's violence, but that's what I tell him. I just say, front of the class, under the radar, and when they're coming at you, your longest reach. Just hit. Don't worry. Ask questions later. But I don't know. What do you think about that one?
Man, I like it.
That's every year. 4th of November, 2023. Don't just practice what I preach, I live it. Industry leader, don't drink, don't do drugs. You don't party, dedicated to fitness, training, mentoring youth, and changing people's lives. I guess we've covered that kind of, haven't we really here so far? That's who you are.
Absolutely, man. That's me.
I can see that. All right. 24th of October, 2023. A question asked, answer given. Sorry, I've got here. What kind of the window should I eat small? Oh, yeah. Fat loss. Yeah. Should one have one meal, just a big meal, and smash it out?
Yep.
Or should you have small meals?
Yep.
to fat loss? And your answer was?
Yep.
I know what your answer was.
Yeah, of course, this is a main fundamental in fat loss. So if a coach ever tells you, look, it's all about calories in and calories out, sack him. Sack him on the spot.
Isn't that what's happening in 2022 and 23? That's all we
95%
hear.
of coaches will tell you that.
That's all we hear.
Yeah, it's complete bullshit. Fat loss is like, the second I get somebody on a diet, they're like, Jeff, I can't eat all this food. It's more than I'd ever eat. I'm like, exactly. I'm like, what do you usually eat? They're like, man, I'll only eat 1 or 2 big meals a day. I'm like, exactly. That's why you're fat. It's not just because the consistency of the meals is garbage. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's a home cooked meal. But it's the frequency you're eating, and and it's why all these meals here are, they're portion controlled.
Yes.
So the portion is important.
Yes.
Of course, the macronutrients of every single meal is important. It's got to be custom to kind of your body and your DNA genetics.
Yes.
And the frequency you're eating is I always tell my clients that is the key. You have to eat. You got to pick a bracket. It's either 2 hours, 2.5, or every 3 hours. That's the key, mate. And the purpose of that is to keep your metabolic rate continuously burning fat. So the purpose of getting in shape, dropping body fat, not body weight, is morphing your body to become a fat burning machine, which means you can introduce more food, more calories, and even some crap food here and there, because we're all going to eat it.
And preserve muscle.
Right? And continuously get away with it and keep burning fat. You need to make your body into a fat burning machine, like a furnace. So, and the only way to do it is to feed the machine the right amount at the right time, and the right food. So that's basic fundamentals of nutrition. Usually a lot of people say to me, oh, I've already got a nutritionist. I go, great, show me your meal. There's nothing weighed. I'm like, that's interesting. That's why you're still fat. They're like, why do I have to weigh my meals? I'm like, well, if you don't know the quantity you're eating, you're either going to overeat or you're going to undereat. So the exact amount is crucial. And we call that a formula. So you need to have a formula of your diet. So it could be 220 grams of protein. This is just hypothetical, 150 carbs and 65 fat. So that's the basic fundamental foundation of a formula. And then, I would break it down to suit the person, and then adjust it every couple of weeks. You can't just follow the same formula.
I knew that 5 meals a day thing was, I knew it from the days of, I used to train at Mitsos Gym. I don't know if you know Terry Mitsos at all.
Yeah, I do,
Yeah. I used to train at Mitsos Gym with Terry there and the crew and the boys there. And what I found was through medication, I put on like 20 kilos twice. 40 and 50. 50, I looked amazing. 52, just, I don't know where my brain was, but I had to do 10 years of fucking loss of a lot of things to realize, looking back, just go back to being Steve. Just go back to the fundamental of who you are, what you are. Feel comfortable with what you feel and how you feel. Sad, happy, angry, kick a door. Don't worry about it. Just do it. Don't worry about all that. But one thing I found was I couldn't lose the weight. I was fasting. I forgot. I forgot the fundamentals. So then I introduced good old fashioned. Firstly. Go for a walk. By the beach. Just don't even have to go fast. Just walk. Remember the good old days? You walked down the street to the next suburb and you walked back. Good old fundamental bodybuilding walking. That's it. Bodybuilding walking. And then I introduced the 5 meals a day. But you're right. I was laughing at weighing, and I'm bringing weighing, and weighing saved my life. I've lost 17 kilos. I've got another 8 kilos to go. That was the key.
You might be out, going to ask me saying, look, what if someone works a corporate job or a busy job? They can't eat 5-6 meals a day. Correct. So where the art form takes over is understanding that person's timing, understanding their schedule, and then being able to play around with the macronutrients to make sure the calories fit, the macros fit. And look, they might be able to get away with 3 meals a day. Sometimes they can, sometimes 4, but increasing the frequency when they're at home, perhaps. But it's getting the formula right. Ultimately.
But I think as well, because I used to work for HSBC. So I used to have 5 meals a day, but I knew I took 5 cans of tuna with me. Firstly, in my bag. That's just in case. That was my contingency. Never was the nutrients perfect, but it was close enough. At least I got home at night and I had breakfast correct, and I had the weekend. I had to do something with, I had lunch hour for 1 hour. I could fix that. But I always used to take cans of tuna with me. And if I couldn't take the rice, I went down to the Chinese shop. The lady knew me. Steve,
look, it's not hard,
rice,
mate.
Small rice.
Exactly. When you set your mind to it, you understand it's actually not that hard. All I need is this and this.
Yeah.
Meal prepping is not that hard. It's just people they're just not bothered. And if you're not bothered, that means you're not serious. And if you're not serious, there's just no point.
And I know that between the men and the boys, the girls and the women, whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
And when that physique does come into play,
Yep.
it always comes down to that discipline, like you mentioned. It's firstly the discipline of everything. It's the discipline of the food, the discipline of turning up to the gym when you don't want to, but also the discipline into rest. You got to have all the disciplines I've got to put. And to be honest, if you're not careful with your mindset, because bodybuilding is also you're looking at yourself, you're judging yourself, you look quite hard on yourself, right? You got to learn to be also kind to yourself. You got to learn to know how to step back for a moment, not be able to go in and destroy what you want to destroy, but you also got to realize sometimes you got to step away from the mirror. Sometimes the mirror can be not your best friend. So I'm just saying that there's always ways to do things as long as the formula you talk about is in check constantly. You know what I'm trying to say? Like rest, food, turning up to the gym. Like it all plays in. What do you say?
Yeah, mate, not every workout's going to be a killer. There's going to be
that's right.
There's going to be days where you're not feeling well, you got sore knees or you've hurt your back. And those are the days that shape you as an athlete or a bodybuilder. When I look back and I remember all the days that I wasn't functioning well or I wasn't on point, I still turned up. Whatever the problem was, I would work around it, change the exercises. I would still leave the gym knowing that I did exactly what I could or I did my best to maintain my mindset. Because sometimes it's not about maintaining your physique. It's about maintaining your mindset.
Yeah, 100%.
Never breaking that routine mentally. So if I can only do 3 exercises on my quads because I've hurt my knees, or even 2 exercises, I might do 12 sets on a leg extension and 12 sets on a leg press, and Beautiful. That's it. I've done exactly what I need to do mentally first, physically, to know that, you know what, I'm not quitting. I'm just going to work around it. The injury will heal. Pain is an illusion. Isolate it and get through it. And the reality is every single athlete is going to have injuries.
100%.
So it's the ones that can get through that pain period that end up being a champion. And that's a quote from Arnold Schwarzenegger.
The other thing I'll say to you, because we're here for people to listen to and learn something, and I like to bounce off ideas with the person that is experienced in ideas. I do know that what people don't understand, I'll give you an example. I had the flu out of the blue. I got it last Friday. I got it Friday. So Friday I was out, completely out. Saturday I was out, and Sunday. But when I went back on Monday, I knew, let's not go back how I trained Thursday. Let's just come. They'll come in after a flu. I could blow myself out if I go too hard. But I trained, but I lowered the intensity and I increased the volume. And it was beautiful. I left touching the weights. I was so happy I just touched them. And I left and I was happy. The next day I did the same. I just knew this week, just calm down, man. Rome wasn't built in a day. Some people want to come back in and they blow themselves out. You've got to learn. Can you tell me when bodybuilding finishes?
Well, yeah, look, that's
never finishes.
It never finishes. That's that's the method of progressive overload. So if I was to start a specific training split today or a special formula on my bench press or my squat, if I could start on 100 kilos, it doesn't mean I start on 100 kilos. I'd start on 60 kilos and I'd give my body space to move every week. So week 2, week 3, 4, 5, etc. I've got space to move. I've got space to progress.
That's right.
So yeah.
I agree. Well, very good.
That's
very
the
good.
art form.
It is. Big triceps, big arms.
Yeah.
Tell us more.
Look, triceps, very, very simple. It's 3/4 of your arm.
They are,
Right.
but no one understands
So
that.
the kings of building big tricep is, of course, dips. Okay, stuff
dips,
all the isolation movements, all the rope extensions, all the cable extensions. Yeah, they're okay, but they never ever compare to doing a dip. The dip is, and I've always said, it's like squatting for your arm, right? It's the fundamental. It develops the thickness. It develops the deep tissue, deep fibers. It strengthens your ligaments, your tendons. You're going to get chest development. So dips over everything, mate, for triceps.
Tell me something. There is but 2 styles of dips. One for your chest and one for your tricep. Can you tell me what is the movement for the tricep? Because I lose myself in that area and I always question it, but I think I'm worked it out now.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Pretty simple. So whenever you want to activate more tricep, whenever you're going to do any type of push, you're going to get some chest recruitment. It's normal. But the art form of bodybuilding over strength training or powerlifting is to be able to put more emphasis on the area you're trying to exaggerate. So for instance, you're trying to work triceps through a dip, which means you jump on the dip bar, you grab it on the closest part possible, right? And you want to be more upright. More upright. So if you compare that to a high bar squat, it's going to put a lot more emphasis on your quadriceps. For example, use close feet, elevate your heels, put the bar position nice and upright on the traps. Same thing for the triceps, nice and close grip, pull your shoulders back heavily, right? And try and dip in a very upright position.
I'm glad you told me
the
that.
opposite for chest. So
Then the opposite
wider,
is
wider, lean forward. Usually the best way to lean forward is to bend your legs, cross your feet over and lead down with your chest. But very important to pull your shoulders back, flare the elbows slightly and use a wider grip. Still going to hit triceps, but a lot more chest.
Yeah, because when you haven't done it for a while, you forget which one is which. And I was going to myself, fuck, is it what you just said, the closer one, the going straight down, or is it? And I've asked a few people, but because your post had it, I wanted to make sure. And like I said, people are listening. All right, 3 tips to boosting more muscle tissue.
Yeah.
Here we go. Eat more eggs.
Yeah.
1 egg can transfer. And this is fucking good information, man, because I was looking at my eggs this morning differently now because of you.
Yeah.
Right? So
Mate, eggs are magic. People underestimate
magic.
it. You can become a pro bodybuilder on 3 things, man. Like rice, eggs a day, and a bit of chicken. That's all you need, mate.
You can, man.
You know?
You can, bro.
That's all you need.
That's what we had, Bo. That's what we did in the 90s.
Eggs are magic.
Well, I'm going to tell you a funny story, all right? I'm going to tell you a funny story. It could be funny, but I'll tell you a funny story. In my 20s, I used to have 6 egg whites every morning.
Yep.
6 egg whites.
Yep.
I didn't have this. Think about it, I didn't even have cereal. Just when I discovered bodybuilding, Terry Mitsos, everybody training, I never competed, but I used to ask questions like, Terry, what do I eat? You know, this bloke, that bloke, what do I eat? You know, and and they said eggs, eggs. So 6 egg whites. My parents used to go, why are you throwing the yolk away? I threw the yolk away. I know some people eat the yolk now. I get it. It's okay. But I just threw the egg away.
Well,
yolk away.
I don't want to break your heart, but the egg is useless without the yolk. It is. It doesn't work.
I didn't know.
It doesn't work.
No. It was
You'll get a
useless.
little bit, but it doesn't work. You need to eat the whole egg.
Well, I just let you
They
know.
work as a synergy.
See, I fucked up.
It's the way
because I
God
could have been
created it,
better.
mate.
Well, I could have been better.
Yeah.
But having said that, and then my mum one day, and my mum and my dad said, this fucking bloke is running us broke on eggs.
Yeah.
So my parents used to get, this is how the wogs were, because I got Greek background. A truck used to come every month from the farm with a fucking pallet full of eggs. And we used to put them in the garage.
Yeah.
Because you can actually have your eggs outside. You don't have to have them in the fridge.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, everyone has this myth of having them in the fridge.
No.
I know. But I'm talking about my parents. I mean, God love them, man. What my mum used to do for me was incredible.
Yeah.
The veal, the grilled chicken. Mate, she used to help me wax my legs.
Yep.
Mums are incredible. I don't know, was your mum quite supportive?
Oh, always, yeah. She always used to help me with my food when I was living at home.
How good are they?
Yeah, amazing. She always supported me with the nutrition. She'd do the shopping. Look, I like to do my own meal prep. I just believe it's part of the discipline of the whole bodybuilding. But
nice.
She'll still come to the gym and she'll still drop off some food. She'll know, I like the gym. I like the chicken grilled and steamed veggies. So she knows how to cook for a bodybuilder. Yeah.
Do they know how to cook for a bodybuilder? Man, sometimes I wonder how they'd get all this food. Either they're drug dealers. Do you think they got older and they got money hidden everywhere? Mate, these old people turn up with food. Restaurant quality food. Aren't they amazing?
Yeah, mate. Yeah.
They're amazing people, aren't they? I used to go like, where does this food come from? This fridge is full of food. I go, everything was full.
Yep.
When you go to your parents' place,
Yep.
you can have everything you want.
Yep.
You want nuts?
Yeah.
Nuts.
Yeah.
You want sweets?
Yeah,
Sweets.
exactly.
You want
a cake? She'll bake you a cake in 2 seconds. My
2
mum will
seconds,
bake you a cake in 2 minutes.
Where did it come from? You tell anybody now, they're like huffing and puffing when they make it.
Yeah,
You're like,
exactly.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I love it, man. I love it. 1 second. Oh, is breast milk the best protein in the world?
Mate, it is.
Why? Tell me. I've not heard this, but I want to know.
It's got pure colostrum in
Get
it.
ready. We're getting breast milk.
It's pure human growth hormone.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's colostrum. So
Yep.
colostrum is the highest potency growth hormone there is on the planet.
We're gonna post this because we'll get heaps of views.
Look,
I hope.
colostrum only comes out from the breast the first 2 weeks. It's only available the first 2 to 3 weeks. That's why the baby explodes in the first 2 to 3 weeks. After that, it's only got a very, very minute amount. So it is pretty pointless drinking breast milk. You see all these crazy mums breastfeeding their 25-year-old sons. It's pretty fucked up. It's true. So look, colostrum's only available the first 2 to 3 weeks, but it's very powerful.
And you can't mimic that, can you?
Well, they do cow colostrum. It comes in powder. But it's not fresh and it's nowhere near as potent as human colostrum.
When you say cow colostrum, are you talking about they're trying to grab it in the first 2 weeks as well?
Yeah, they do.
The calf?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. And you buy it in a powder form. It's okay.
Is it expensive?
Oh, it is actually pretty
Where do you
expensive.
find it?
Yeah. You know, like any brand should make it. Like any health food store should have it. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I've used it before. It's pretty good. I've actually given it to my kids a couple of times.
What's it called again?
Colostrum. It's healthy to take. It's good for brain function as
I'm
well.
sure. I'm doing. Trust me, brother. You don't understand how much I want to be better.
Yeah.
Like it's. Trust me. I without sounding rude, relationships can take you where you don't want to be. What I'm trying to say by that is maybe you're better at it than me.
Yeah, well, if you allow it, man.
That's what I was going to say.
It's like a gold digger. There's no gold unless you give the gold.
But what I'm alluding to is that sometimes if you are novice, naive, and you want to give, sometimes people take advantage of that and make you weak. So what I've learned is, like you said, like at the end of the day, if you look after oneself, everyone else is good around you.
Yeah, for sure.
And the right people come along. And that's why I said, but yeah, all these things I'm discovering, it's incredible colostrum. I'm going to look this up now. I'm going to look this up. June 17.
Just don't go and find a pregnant woman.
Maybe I'll just wait for her to give birth. Maybe I'll be, you know what I'll do? What I'll do is, you know, when they do cesareans, they'll go like, who's this guy in the scrubs?
Yeah.
I wouldn't even know he is. And I'm there
Just
with
waiting.
I'm there with a jar. every hospital ward, you see me outside the front drinking colostrum. June 17, 2017, man, that's how far back we went. Gold's Gym, North Sydney, opened its doors. You were rejected by 7 banks. You had no assets.
Yep.
You had no leverage.
Yep.
You were diving towards your goal. You committed to the equipment even though you had no money yet.
Correct.
You did everything back to front.
I did.
Your family thought you were crazy. At one point you thought you were crazy. You never gave up. Let's go. Tell us the story.
Look, no one is ever going to know how I came up with the finances to open up Gold's Gym North Sydney. It's a mystery and it always will be.
Look, I've got my next question talks a little bit about that, but I don't want to know the mystery, but keep going.
I'll answer as much as I can.
Yeah,
but however, look, that's where the quote that you started off with, I kept that quote in my head. You know, you want to take the island, you burn the boats. So, mate, I was possessed. I was a man on a mission. I got let go from Fitness First, which stung. It hurt me. I had a baby and I had another baby on the way. You know, I had the mortgage, I had everything going on. And and the words that changed my life were the manager. He just started 8 weeks and he called me into the office and he just slid an envelope across the table like this. He was too embarrassed to actually say it to me. He wasn't man enough. So I opened it up and it was a very, very small paragraph and it said, to Jeff, you do not fit the, and I'll never forget the words because they changed my life. They made me into a multimillionaire, so I'm very thankful. I said, to Jeff, you do not fit the culture of our gym, and you may, remember the word may, didn't say you did, you may devalue our brand in the future. So it was a personal thing between him and me, and that's kind of the story of my life. It's when people feel intimidated. It's kind of like something, ego reassurance for that individual person. Clearly he wasn't a man. He wasn't able to sit me down and say, here's a list of things I'd like you to improve on. You're a great, and here's a few positive things. You're a great trainer. You have a big following. You know, you're doing 60 hours of PT a week. You help around the club when you don't have to, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You're a great industry leader. You're a team leader. You've got qualifications. You're an Australian champion bodybuilder. There was nothing positive. It was, you don't fit the culture of our club, so fuck off. Right? So, look, of course, I tried to save my job at the start. I didn't just walk out. I was like, what is it? Give me some clarity. Is it the way I look? Is it my haircut? What is it? Because I was willing to make those adjustments then because I'm a man that that is happy to negotiate. But there was no response, which really told me the truth. And no response is usually an answer in itself. It was personal. He didn't want me there. He didn't like me. He was trying to rebrand or re-cleanse the club and make it an all-white culture. That's the truth. And take it or leave it. Whoever's listening, I don't give a fuck. That's the truth. So yeah, it led me to do something big with my life. At that exact point, I was upset. I was confused. I was stressed. I had bills. I had mortgages, kids, as I said. But look, man, where there's a will, there's a way. I came up with the idea of opening up to me, it was the greatest gym in Sydney. Australia. And the way I came up with the idea is in 2013, I competed in the 11 years today on Facebook memory. I competed in the Arnold Classic. And I trained in Golds. That was a dream of mine, just to make it to Golds. Ever since I was 14, 15, watching Pumping Iron. It was, when I watched Pumping Iron, that changed my life. My sister bought it for me, I think for my 14th birthday. And he was on a cassette, a tape recorder. So I think I've watched that. Movie. Yeah, I've watched it a million times. And just watching them train in Golds, my dream was just to go to Golds. So made it to Golds in 2013, was invited to compete to represent the country, trained there for a month with the one and only Robbie Robinson, the Black Prince. And I learned a lot of stuff from him that I still use with training and nutrition now. He's an absolute genius. And I made such a good network and such a good relationship with Gold's California, Venice Beach that, they rolled up their floor mat, which is in Gold's Gym North Sydney now, and gave it to me as a gift. We just became friends, and I was there 3 times a day, and I just became part of the furniture. So, whether you want to call it fate or destiny, it happened, the vision happened. So, fast forward to 2017, I was like, the first thing that came into my mind, what is the best brand to me? It was Gold's. I could have called it Jeff's Gym, and it probably would have done just as good.
But Gold's is iconic.
I love it, mate. I love it.
Gold's Gym was, like you said, it was Pumping Iron.
Yep.
And Arnold and everyone.
But it was the characters that brought it alive.
That's what I'm saying.
Arnold, Robbie Robinson, all of those guys. Franco Colombo,
that's
Lou Ferrino,
Lou Ferrino, some of the other big guys too. I mean, there was back then.
Tom Platter. It translated to the 70s, the 80s, the 90s.
It was the Ocean's 11. It was the, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And 2000s, the greatest trained there, Flex Wheeler. Yeah. I mean,
I agree with you, man.
Era.
I know the name I know the iconic name. I know the iconic stuff on bodybuilding. I know the logo so well. I know a lot of things that stood out. I mean, you can't. All right, let me tell you, you can't call yourself a bodybuilder if you haven't watched Pumping Iron.
Yeah,
no
for
one.
Sure.
If anybody's out there, you're training people and you haven't watched Pumping Iron.
Yeah.
Chris, if you have not watched Pumping Iron, do not say you're a bodybuilder.
Oh,
is this true?
It's a must watch. You
have to watch it. It's the foundation.
It's
I loved it. What was he? I think he was saying to Lou Ferrigno about eating cheesecake.
Yeah, something
in the back of the
like
bus or something.
He said, "I'm going to come over, and your mum's going to make us an apple strudel." I know every word to the movie, and then your mum's going to hook me up with your sister.
What about?
But he was an antagonist. I mean, that was Arnold's character.
Training is like coming. When I get the pump, it's like coming.
Yeah, something like that.
It was hilarious, man. It was hilarious. The point of the story is, do it. Anyone can do it. You just need to work your ass off. You were in monk mode for 12 months. You took 8 months to come up with the money. 8 weeks to build the gym.
Yep.
Your words here, your stuff.
Yeah, no, I know.
You discovered what you're capable of, how much pressure you can handle, how bright the future is. Don't let anyone tell you you can't do it.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Your words, man.
Absolutely.
Tell you what, I couldn't go to sleep when I finished your script. I was too pumped. I read it at night.
Look, I just want to add something to that. I think there comes a moment in time for every single person, every single man, where they have the choice to change their life. It's an opportunity.
There is.
I think a lot of people shun away from it, from fear. and they can really change the trajectory, not just of their life, but of the future generation, their children and their children's children. So, I mean, I'm a long-term thinker. I always have been as a kid. And it's not just about the money, man. It's about setting my children up and my kids' kids. I mean, when I know I've set up my kids' kids, then I know all the pain and all the suffering and all the sacrifice and all the sleepless nights and all the backstabbing and all the people trying to rob you and scam you. It was worth it.
Yeah. I can't say I'm there yet, but I hear you. But definitely there's a lot of bullets flying everywhere, which you've got to learn how to navigate it. It just came to me now in the 300 when what was his name again? Leonidas was going to war, and his wife came to him to put the cross or put something around his neck. And she said, you know, he's not going to kiss me. He's not even going to say I love you, because he's
got to stay strong, mate.
He's got to stay strong. But she said to him, she looked at him and she said, you either come back with your shield or on it.
Yeah.
Some people don't understand that. Like
it's do or die. That's what it means. It's do or die. You either go for it, you win, you make something out of your life, or you just fall back in line, mate, and flip the burgers.
And isn't it funny what cost them? It cost them that little nymph thing, that fucking... He said to him, you can be part of us, but you can't hold your shield. You know why? Like he said, you're great with a sword.
Yeah, like the reason why Leonidas denied the disabled guy or the monster kind of looking guy to join the army is because he told him the truth. He said, we operate under... one law, we cover the shield from thigh to neck and we are unpenetrable.
Have a listen.
So he had a system. That means he had a system and he was not willing to negotiate on his system.
That's right.
And that's fundamentals of business. I have very small OCDs in the gym that I won't negotiate. And I don't give a fuck if the staff or other people don't understand them. You don't understand what these systems are in place for. And you got to have unnegotiables. Yeah. And that was Leonidas's unnegotiable.
And he still gave him a role.
He gave him a role. He still acknowledged him as a person.
And he went against back because what did he choose?
Exactly.
The women, the drugs,
and the mistake, the double-edged sword is. The double-edged sword is, and this is something my dad taught me. Yeah. My dad said to me, he said, when I was a kid, he said, if you plant someone, right, if you get them as a seed and you plant them, let's say you're doing really well in an industry and you say, Jeff, I need some help. You plant them, they will come full circle and unplug you out of the floor.
Wow.
Right? So that's powerful. So he still acknowledged him, and his lieutenant said, I'm going to spear you right here. So you better get away, monster. And he said, I'll give you an opportunity, which was the kindness. So he was kind to him and he still betrayed him.
He did?
He showed the Persians how to get through the hot gates.
And what did the Persians give him? Naked women and money and spa baths.
Exactly. Pleasure or pain. So he went for the pleasure.
Yeah, and that's life. That's what I'm saying to you, man. That's life. You got nothing. You're a couple of months in. $3 to $4 million to build this. So you're teaching yourself along the way about finance and banking.
Yeah, absolutely.
You had some great people, connections. And you mentioned that you actually trained. So there must have been somewhere in the line of you've helped them somewhere along the way, because you mentioned you trained. I want to know, is that true? Brokers, lawyers, solicitors, they did give you some advice that was up to you to take. Tell us about the networks and believing in the unbelievable. Like you had to trust some people.
Yeah, look.
And you had to learn.
You got to trust some people. And if I could go back and tell myself, you still have to trust people and you still have to make projections for people to stab you in the back. You got to keep, and it can't be personal. You can't get emotional about it.
Say that again. I missed it.
I said, you're going to have to trust people. And if I could go back in time and I would tell my younger self, you still have to take that risk of trusting people, because the risk of not trusting certain people or certain things could change your whole entire future. But the double-edged sword is some of those people that you do trust will hurt you, will stab you under the back.
They're very wise words, bro.
And you have to project for that, and you can't take it personally. At the time I did, very emotional about, certain things. But it's just like a business. You need, $100,000 or $500,000 working capital for the whole year. That is your working capital. So what I mean by that is you have to make projections to be stabbed in the back. And if you can navigate around it, good on you. But a lot of the people that helped me, 99% of them, they were fans of mine. They loved what I did for them. And, you know, helping these people through training, mindset, helping their relationships, helping their bodies function better, be healthier physically and mentally.
Yeah.
These people only wanted to see me win, and they're still in my circle.
Good.
And they're high profile people, and they've watched me climb the ladder. They've watched me from, you know, a personal trainer become a business owner. And I've got other businesses too. I just don't, I don't talk about them. You know, they're just private things. So you know, multiple streams of income.
I was telling this to Chris today on the walk. I said I love bodybuilding, and I'm in business of bodybuilding right now. This is our business. This is our business. I don't own a gym. I'm not a personal trainer. My business is building something around this bodybuilding, which is a podcast and a few other things in it. I've had other fundamental businesses. But correct me if I'm wrong, there are people out there that have invested nothing.
Yep.
But they're fucking telling us that we're taking up their time. I was saying to Chris, when I had my juice bar, right, I had no business experience. But back then, I'm just saying, you know, back in 2000, it cost me $250,000 to buy.
Yep.
With not a lot of money, but in the city. But I didn't even know how to cook. I didn't even know how to make smoothies. I just knew protein shakes.
Yep.
But that business was doing $750,000 a year.
Yep.
I turned it into $750,000. You could buy a house for $500,000, just let you know then. You could buy a house for $500,000 back in 2000, right? So I was doing $750,000. But weekly, I was doing, say, 20K. But in 20K, I had to suppliers, rents, staff wages.
Yep.
Like the whole break, that's business.
Yeah.
People believe sitting in their bedrooms. Funny enough, our podcast is in a bedroom. Oh, we had to give it away, didn't we, with you, mate? Oh, he's blowing the cover, man.
Man, I didn't say it. You said it.
Yeah, but you judged us. But anyway, that's another story. We love you, man. Honestly, you know what?
It was an observation.
It's all right. We were fire with fire, me and you. It was great. I loved it. But the thing is, and you know, me and you, I think we're warming towards each other very nicely in our honesty, right? But the one thing I know is this, that these motherfuckers are telling me stuff that they haven't even invested in. I'll tell you why. It's just Uber. I got a car that I can drive Uber in. I didn't invest. I'm using my family car to drive Uber. You're not a businessman, mate. You're not even close to an entrepreneur. Until you invest hard-earned money that pays wages, that pays people, that people grow off you as well, which you're doing. And I said to Chris, unless you own a gym, which, funny enough, you're coming in, unless you own a gym, maybe a supplement store or unless you've got stuff going on, what do you got?
Yeah.
You're a personal trainer. I don't know if that's entrepreneurial yet.
It's not entrepreneurial. It is definitely a.
It's a start.
Look.
What I'm saying is a lot of them are building ego above ego. Like it's becoming like.
It depends on the system.
Go on. Yeah,
right. So if you're working for a gym and they're paying a wage, you're on the books, they're paying your super insurance, etc., then no, you're just a staff member. Yeah. But my guys are subcontractors.
Yep.
And they also work for my company. So under the contract, there's certain things they have to do and not do against. And these are also worldwide rules with golds as well.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, they are still running their own business. Do I help and support and mentor them? Yeah, absolutely. And I'm good at it and I love it.
But that's what it takes, but go on.
It is, but they still have to conduct themselves as running their own business.
Yeah.
So that just doesn't mean just in the gym. That's outside of the gym as well.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? So you can't, like I said before, you can't be getting pissed and hitting the bags on the weekend and then coming into the gym and thinking that you can be a fitness professional. That's not going to work for me because I'm going to stalk your Instagram and I'm going to see how you live because the way you live is very important to me.
Well, it affects they're on your floor.
It's not just an image thing. It's about I want people around me that are on the same frequency.
But also, don't you agree that some are overshooting the mark in who they are and how they're talking to other business people? Like at the end of the day, you have to understand. If I'm talking to Richard Branson, I'm not at Richard Branson's level. Like at the end of the day, we're on different pay grades. Well, I'm saying some people are on such lower pay grades that they talk like they're. Well, to me, I'll just let you know the word entrepreneur means a lot.
It does.
It doesn't mean 50K a year. You can't write it in
It's going to sleep. This is what that word means to me. Yeah. And this is a lot of the nights This is me. It's going to sleep saying, how am I going to make money tomorrow morning?
Exactly.
And then waking up in the morning going, how am I going to make money today? Regardless if I've got money coming in, which I do from multiple avenues.
Yeah.
But it's not about being money hungry. It's having the motivation to make money. So does money motivate me? Yeah, fucking oath it does. Why does it motivate me? It's a different reason for everybody. For me, it's buying freedom. It's buying your freedom.
Yeah. Well, for me as well, personally, I look at standards. What I'm trying to say to you is an entrepreneur driving without ego, driving a nice car means a lot to me. An entrepreneur investing in properties means a lot to me. An entrepreneur investing in business means a lot to me. They're entrepreneurs to me. I don't know what their per annum is, but they're investing and they're investing further. What I'm saying is this word is getting a little bit scattered, that you can just be starting at the very bottom and you've already said to yourself you're an entrepreneur. I don't think that word should be used. Maybe you're a business owner. Maybe you're growing your business. But entrepreneurial is a different level to me. And it's sometimes I don't even know if I'm there yet in myself. I'm always aspiring for more to become an entrepreneur. And I think maybe I'll never say the word, or maybe I'll never believe it. But for me,
I think it's a genetic thing too. Like you've got to have the hustle in you.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if I'm doing the gym and I'm doing my other business, I'm also doing a little bit of property as well.
Yeah, that's entrepreneurial.
But if I know how to get in the way of money,
yeah,
and make that money go into my pocket,
yeah,
by having the gift of the gab, and being honest, having the right network. So, for example, Steve, if you came to me and you said to me, I want to buy this, I've got the network as an entrepreneur to go sit tight, make a phone call and go, hey, Greg, do you still have this, that, or that product? No. Okay. Shoot me over a text message with a price list. And, that's a finder's fee. So I'd put my fee on top of that.
That is entrepreneurial.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'd sell it to you and I'd make my fee, and maybe I'd make 15K. Like, you got to have the network, you got to have the honesty, you got to have the reputation, and you got to have the street credibility.
You do.
So
there's a lot to it.
And you have to, you got to make the money too. So yeah, if you can do those things and you can flip something or buy something, it could be a house, could be a car, could be a box of mangoes. You're 100%. An entrepreneur.
No, 100%.
Mate, you collecting bottles, right? You collecting bottles and collecting 100,000 bottles and making yourself 20,000 a year on 100,000 bottles. That's entrepreneurial.
Look, it's 100%. What I'm trying to say to you is a lot of people aren't doing anything and they're calling themselves that. That's the problem I find. What I'm trying to say to you is
they're trying to develop an image before it happens. But
that's
unfortunately,
that's what I'm saying is
it doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way,
it's
exactly.
so competitive out there.
And also entrepreneurial, like bodybuilding, is forever. 1 minute you got muscles,
right.
The next minute you don't have muscles because you're not training. 1 minute you got money in your bank account, and the next minute you're eating porridge. How many times does an entrepreneur have to eat porridge?
Yeah.
And then he's having the caviar.
Yeah.
Like, he's smoking Cubans. I mean, not that I smoke, I don't smoke, but I'm just trying to give an analogy to it,
Definitely.
All right, I'm going to go with a hot topic. This is
it.
going out now.
Yeah, let's go.
Hot topic. TGA, that's the Therapeutic Goods Administration.
Yeah.
Do you think they know what they're doing? I don't, first and foremost. I'll tell you why. I read on the 1st of July 2023 that psychiatrists now can actually prescribe MDMA. MDMA is used to treat depression. So what my thoughts is they're fucked.
Yeah.
Why? I'll tell you why.
I've got to disagree with you, Steve.
Really?
Yeah.
Fuck. We've got a disagreement here. Let's go.
So
why do you disagree? Go.
So going back to one of my first companies that I owned, it was a protein company. It was called Pure Power. And I formulated my own protein supplement and full amino acid chain. So it was pretty hard getting that across and being able to sell it on shelves, even though I did. And it was all TGA approved. So there was a certain criteria to get through the TGA, to get it certified, to be able to sell for human consumption. However, does the FDA know what they're doing, which is the American version of the TGA?
Well, I've got here the FDA. You go ahead.
Yeah. So no, I don't. And the reason why is because I used to purchase a lot of supplements from America that were American, that were FDA approved. And there's always an ingredient and they name it as proprietary limited. And you don't know what that ingredient is. Whether in TGA, Australian regulation, every single ingredient has to be listed. The proprietary blend of the FDA, of the company, let's say I opened up a company in America selling protein powder. My proprietary blend could be pillow fluff. And I don't have to disclose it. That's why there's been a lot of illegal drugs spotted in American supplements. For example, there was a sleeping formula. I'm not going to mention the brand because I don't want to slag it, but it had like GBH in it.
No way.
Yeah. And I actually used it for quite a while. And I was like, wow, this shit knocks you out.
Yeah.
And it had a very small amount of GBH in it.
Wow.
So yeah.
But what do you think about the fact that you can have ecstasy to treat depression and
Mate,
psychiatrists
it works.
Tell me how. You got to tell me.
Look, there's a Netflix documentary that I watched, and it's certified, and it's all regarding using these substances and how they work in the brain, and how they can one heavy dose under monitoring, in the hospital with the nurse and all the correct procedures done, fixes people. And it's not just depression; it's other things. It's other problems that people have.
Yeah, it's not just depression. That's right.
Because they used to
PTSD.
Look, absolutely. They used to use LSD in the 50s for depressed housewives.
But is it? Like what I'm trying to say.
It's psilocybin, mate. It's derived from a mushroom.
Yeah, okay.
So
which one?
Magic mushroom. I don't know. The psilocybin mushroom, actually.
Yeah. I know about it.
So it's a derivative. LSD is very similar.
LSD is a derivative. That's what I was going to ask you.
They compound it from it.
But what about MDMA?
Look, I've never tried it, but I think any chemical compound or drug has positives and negatives. Of course, like we all affiliate MDMA with, getting off your face and going to a dance party. But
I've tried it. So can I talk about it?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, Chris, are you all right with that? No, in my 20s, I did take ecstasy.
Yep.
There's no denying that. And I don't take drugs now, and I don't really like it. I'll tell you why I don't like it. I just like to have control. So forget about, and I used to purposely, I didn't take it here in Sydney. I would go to another state and have a good time and party. And what it did was back then was, say I took one tablet, it's good for all of us to know that, it elevated you. Your pupils were on, even with the lights on. Your pupils were massive. Even with lights on, they were like switched on like that. And it was a love drug.
Yep.
And back when I took it, not many people took it. And if you had alcohol with it, it suppressed it. So, and even if you had a steak diet before it, it suppressed it. You really had to learn to diet into this thing. The let's say we're going to party at night. The night before we'd have carbs. And during the day we'd have light proteins.
Yep.
And just enough sugars, and then party at night and drink water. Girls used to say, you guys look like you're having a great time, man. What are you drinking? We go, water. But we wouldn't say what we were having. But the elevation was crazy. You were like invincible. And I think that's why I'm saying it concerns me was as high as we got, and I'm a pretty intelligent guy when it comes to analysing why do I feel like shit, I realised it took me 3 days to come back. And what I realised with addiction, drug addiction, is this. This is you. And you take a drug like ecstasy, cocaine, whatever. You're up here having a great time. And then you fall and you come back. And then you take it again, but you fall lower. Eventually, you're just taking drugs to level.
Exactly.
And then when you can't level, and that's why I worry, hear me out, I know maybe this is conspiracy, I just worry that any way to sell elusive, illegal drugs in our system in the world and make it legal is to make it pharmaceutically approved. Some things, that's how I feel. But that's the only thing I worry about when it came to when I've had it, and we're talking about 3 decades ago, we're talking about when it was not like now and not everyone did it. And now I hear what they're popping and how many they pop. You just pop one. Once I had 2 and I was floating. Felt like I was on a cloud. And you could gauge the room like this, and a girl looked at you and knew she was on it. You connected.
Yep.
There was something.
You could pick up on the expressions easily.
But there was a chemical kind of vibe. I don't know what it was. You just knew, right? You just knew.
It's more of a confidence thing too. Look, I'm not for drugs. I've never done any drugs like that. But I guess like these things bring out the confidence in you. They bring out who you really want to be. They're amplifiers.
But there was. I'm telling you, in the room it was the times when no one took them. Not like now, man.
Yeah.
Now it's different. It's different now, man. my kids ask me about these questions. I tell them everything. I'm not afraid to tell my kids what I've taken, what I've not. I'll be honest with you. I'm cleaner than I've ever been right now because actually I don't drink to commiserate and I don't drink to celebrate. Actually, I don't drink. I know you don't drink, but the only time if Chris and me thought we're celebrating 1 year of Muscle Talks, we might have a beer each. That's all I'll have.
Yeah.
There's no more in it. But all I'm saying is there was a telepathic communication going on when you're at that level. I'm still trying to work out how it would work for PTSD and depression. I question it.
I'm not an expert on it,
Yeah.
but I saw the documentary.
Yeah, okay.
And the studies behind it were helping people. So if it can be monitored and it can help people, you know, I'd rather take that than take a bunch of pills for the rest of my life.
100%. Well, I hope it's that. I hope it's what we read.
Stop scrolling. Do you want to score yourself $250 worth of Papa Macros meals? Now's your chance. Go to threeog.shop or
Go to Papa Macros and use the code Muscle Talks at checkout.
go get it now.
Let's talk about bodybuilding now, man.
Yeah, let's do it.
You know, I want to know a bit more about your bodybuilding, okay? When was your first comp?
Oh, wow. First comp was probably 2008.
Yeah, and?
Yeah.
What was the comp?
So it was A and B, it's natural competition.
Yep.
And I came third.
Nice.
No, I came first. I came first.
Yep.
It was a state title. And I didn't know anything about having a coach or a coach. I didn't know anything about dieting. All I knew is you have to get lean to look good or be competitive. So, I just started to eat really, really, really clean food. And it was very, very, very difficult. I didn't know anything about formulas or macros. I didn't know what was in the chicken. I didn't know what type of protein. I just knew it was high protein. Yeah. Really difficult. No support, no coach. Everyone in my family was actually really confused. I wouldn't have dinner. I'd have my own dinners.
I know.
So like mum was like, oh, are you sure you're okay? I'm like, yeah, this is what you got to do. And it made me very, very irritable. And this was the only time I ever got like really, really like down towards a competition. Because what I didn't know, it was really, really playing with my hormones. And I didn't
regulate.
I didn't expect it. But anyway, it worked. I got lean. I learned a lot because I did it all myself. Yeah. Won the competition. Didn't expect to blow out 3 or 4 days later. I couldn't stop eating. Mate, I think I ate about 8 bowls of pasta that night when I got home and had about 5 cans of Coke. I was like...
That would have killed your gut too.
Mate, I was hammered. I think I needed to go to hospital. I couldn't breathe. I was that full. Literally.
Yeah. I've done it after a fast and I fucked up.
I really fucked up that one. I just woke up on a couch. That's all I remember. My dad literally just carried me to a couch. Yeah. But look, it was all upwards from there. I think if you
How old were you?
I was probably 21.
All right. Wow,
21
so
or 22, yeah.
Good on you.
Yeah. So there was no social media, no YouTube, nothing like that, no information available. It was
the other thing is you disciplined yourself to go natural as well. I'm just letting
100%,
you know.
Yeah.
And you did it yourself.
Yeah, I was friends with one bodybuilder. I was working at a GNC store. I was managing a GNC store in Chatswood. He's passed away now. He became my best friend. He was a great natural bodybuilder, and he gave me a book. And that was it. That's all I had. And the book was just on nutrition. And I just learned by reading and writing and weighing stuff. But it's the best way to learn. Those old school methods, they're invaluable.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So and then I think when you do that first comp and you do go through the mental and physical suffering, you know if bodybuilding's for you or not.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm never doing this again while I was dieting. And then the second I finished and got that food out of my system, I was like, let's go again. I think I competed 3 weeks later in the INBA championship. I didn't win that. I think I came second.
Yeah.
And that was in Canberra. I remember my best mate drove me there. But I looked even better than the first comp because I'd filled out.
Yeah, I was going to say,
I filled out. I was still dry. I learned how to balance the physique a little bit more. I was more confident on stage. And then I just kept going, man. And then every year I kept getting bigger. Like usually people that are in a weight class, they don't go up every year. I went up every single year, a weight class. I was actually packing on muscle like crazy. That's about it.
So can I just go backwards one more thing? When did bodybuilding capture your attention? How old were you? When did it firstly capture your attention? And when did it run through your brain, run through your veins?
Mate, it was always there. My dad was always in great physical shape.
Was he? Yeah.
Always. He still is. He's 83 years old now.
No way.
Still comes to the gym. He still trains every day. He's the epitome of just discipline.
Nice.
So he's
I like the
really
sound of
instilled those values in me. So from a young age, we always had dumbbells and a bench press in the backyard. I'd always see him, training and doing push-ups. So I was always training. And it's the same with my boys now. They see me, and we're always training. Our whole life revolves around training.
Yeah,
so, born into it. So you could put it that way.
Reminds me of a little bit of Patrick David,
Oh, yeah, Patrick Bet David.
Yeah, because I've watched some of his podcasts,
Yeah.
but he's always showing off his kids, and he's got he's out, he lives in an amazing house, and he's doing quite amazing for himself. Quite good to see a wog making it out there.
Absolutely.
But it's just his kids. He's doing the same thing. His kids have got a fucking big program on, these kids.
Yeah, mate, my kids' program is ballistic. It's busier than mine.
I was going to say. I don't know,
soccer 3 times a week.
I don't know how you do it, man, because when I say I don't know how you do it, obviously, look, I'm not saying my son doesn't love me. Unfortunately, I'm in a broken marriage.
Yep.
It doesn't matter. That was 8 years ago, 9 years ago. I've moved on. But those breaks create breaks, right? And to keep friendships or to keep respect, you have to play a certain level playing field of you just can't push as hard as I would have if I had the support.
Yeah, you lose your authority in some aspects.
You do.
Which is sad.
Which is sad. But the one thing I know, one thing I know is, like you said, I'm a man of my word. So they know when I speak, he's a man of his word. He'll turn up, he'll deliver, he'll pay, we got soccer on Saturday. Just me and him to kick the ball. We're there. Like, it doesn't matter. He can call me at 12 midnight. Hello? Yeah, where are you? I'll come and get you. Like, everything it's built around trust. Trust. And the one thing I built with my kids, just to let you know, is truth. And the funniest thing is, once I questioned his truth, and he looked at me and he goes, "What, you think I'm lying?" And I looked at him and I went, "All right, have a good time." Never said it again to him, because we don't lie. That's the one thing we don't do. There's no lie. We prefer, if we don't want to hear it, if it's something we're not going to like, regardless, it's hard to tell us. We will just say it to each other.
Just don't talk about it.
What I'm trying to say to you is, we talk, but we never lie. We don't. Everyone else can lie around us. Family and friends can lie around us. When it comes to the three of us, there's no lying. There's no lying. Any question you ask, we'll answer it.
Well, great relationships are built on trust, man. So
it is. And I
can't break that.
And that's what I'm saying is, like, your sons, Patrick Bet David, man, you got them moving. They must really trust you.
It has to be done. It has to be done because, like I said, I'm a long-term thinker. So I'm looking at the mistakes or the opportunities, not mistakes, that I didn't have as a kid. They're available now. And it's my job as a dad, and I tell them this all the time. I say, it's my responsibility to make you a high-functioning, smart man that can survive in this world and can depend on himself and take care of his brother and be somebody that other people can rely on. So if I tell you, go to bed at 8:30, it doesn't mean I don't want you to sit up and watch TV with me. It means I need you to sleep so you can recover and you can be the best you can be tomorrow. So when I break it down to him like that, he's like, okay, good night.
There was one time, and you'll know as well, I know you'll know, but there was a time when Yanni was 12, 13, 14, somewhere around there. And I went up to him, I said, "Do you have aspirations to be a sporting star?" He said, "Why do you ask me that?" I said, "Because if you don't jump right now and put your heart and soul in it, it's not going to happen when you turn 18 and you're not going to be able to do it at 21. Yeah. So I'm just giving you a heads up. You're 12. I know it's a big call I'm asking you is, if you're wanting to play in the sporting world, this is the final call. So you're going to have to as well with your kid.
You got to be real. I'm always very, very real with my kids, man. Because if they can't take the criticism from me, the reality of the world, it's a very harsh realm. People are going to say some things to them that can be soul destroying, and they're going to have to be able to take it and not just take it and walk away. Take it, weaponize it, and use it against the world so they can win.
Can you explain weaponize?
Weaponize,
because you've used it a few times.
Yeah, no, it's a word that I do use because we're all going to experience pain, suffering, criticism, backstabbing, all those negative things from other people. But, and I explain it as it's like a fire. Like if you can control that fire, it's fear. And that fear can be converted into something successful. So fear, fear can be your best friend. That's what I say, because it can bring out your best potential. So if you can utilize the pain, the suffering, control it, and then direct it into something positive, whether it be business, sports, relationships, bodybuilding. For me, it was bodybuilding. Now I convert it into my business, and I also push it into my kids. You're weaponizing it against the people directing all the negative force. So if I've got 1,000 people hating on me and looking at my TikToks or looking at my business and giving me bad vibes, I know who they are, right? I know who they are. And I also know who the real ones are who mean the best for me. I'm a sensitive individual. I can feel it. I know who's out there that wants me to win, and I know who's out there in disguise as a friend that wants me to fall on my face. So being observant is very, very important. Understanding your surroundings and just being able to utilize those emotions and put them into something where you will win. You will win no matter what. Using that fire. I mean, fire can warm up your whole family around the campsite, or it can burn you and burn everyone around you.
Yeah, I like your analogy. I think when I was thinking about that, I have a few sayings. They seem to be coming up slowly, like my own little philosophies. One was, you can be scared, but just don't be afraid. Like, you can be scared, just don't be afraid. Being afraid, it's going to stop you in life when you're afraid, but you can be scared. You're scared?
It's important to be scared because there's a challenge ahead.
That's right.
But
don't be afraid.
You just have to do it anyway.
Don't be afraid.
Do it anyway. That's where courage kicks in.
That's right. And the other one is, and I just said it this week to somebody, she was talking about the past, and I said to her, the past gave you strength. Going forward makes you stronger. That's all it is. The past gave you strength. That's the foundation built, strength. Going forward, you make yourself stronger. So that's how I see life. Sometimes, like I said, there's certain ways I see life too, which you can use words accordingly, and those words can be used accordingly. I think in this world where we're not allowed to use certain words accordingly because we think of it as either being less of a man, how we will be judged. And I can tell you, you're right. I can tell you now, you know the numbers too. 5% of people care for you to succeed, 95% don't. And into that 5% as well, when someone tells you, I hope you succeed in life, just don't succeed further than me. They don't actually want you to go that any further.
But the flip side of it is the perspective. If you can flip the perspective and be like, you know what, if I didn't have 95% of these people hating on me, I wouldn't have the drive to want to prove them wrong.
That's true, man.
So you got to be thankful for the haters because they're the ones actually pushing you along. If everything is fine and everyone loves you, then you're gonna be content. You're gonna have no drive.
No, you're right.
You're not gonna be chasing the cheese, you know.
Right now, what you just said, I'm gonna take with me from today onwards. Like the haters
are important.
No, I know them. I need to know them, but I didn't know to the extent that you just explained to me where I need them as well.
You need them.
Yeah, no.
And if you don't, only the best are critiqued. That's what I noticed.
Yeah. No.
If they're not critiquing you, then they're not jealous of you. And if someone's not jealous of you, then you're just like everybody else. You have nothing to offer. There's nothing unique.
No, I'm telling you, I'm going to change after that comment now. Now I'm going to trust me because, I don't want to talk too much about myself, but I'm going to take that on. Tell us, out of all the comps you've done, what's your favourite?
Definitely when I won the Australasian Championship. It was the biggest comp I did in Australia.
Yes.
That was my favourite, and I'll tell you why. There's a few aspects.
Yeah.
One particular memory was when I actually won. My dad, I was more happy that I won to see the reaction my dad gave me. Yeah. It was the first time I really saw emotion from him because he's a very stoic man, right? He doesn't really show much emotion.
Chris is stoic.
Yeah. He doesn't show much emotion. And he'll never really encourage you. Even if you're doing really well, he'll be like, 50-50, you know. But he does it on purpose just to keep aggravating you so you get hungry, right?
Wow. There you go.
And that's how he's treated me his whole life. And I do that to my kids. Even though they're killing it, I'll be like, that's a 6 out of 10. Even though it's a 10 out of 10. It keeps them hungry.
See,
but when I saw him on that day, when they announced my name, you won, and I held the trophy up, mate, he literally jumped off the top of the auditorium and literally nearly killed himself. He was that happy. He like ripped his shirt off and he took the trophy off me. He's like, that's my son. That's my son. I was like, okay, cool.
Good.
Nice.
Well, what's your background?
I'm Palestinian.
Are you?
Yeah. Australian born.
Yes,
Palestinian blood.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I know.
So that was my favorite comp. And I knew that was the only comp I knew from the start till the end. I was going to win and there's nobody going to compare to me on that stage. It was like, it was preordained. Yeah.
Look, I like your dad. You know, life is, I think, you know, well, some of us are, we're like CIA, you know what, Central Intelligence Authority.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a CIA agent only talks 10% about themselves.
Yep.
And the 95% they sit there and listen to the world.
Mm.
So I have to say sometimes Stoic is like that. Now, I can't not mention, obviously you mentioned Palestine and what's going on at the moment. I'm not going to go into this right now. I'll tell you why I won't. But all I know is it hurts my heart. Like there's no hurt. I'll probably cry now.
Yeah.
Because I'm fucked off.
Yeah, it's terrible, man.
It is terrible. And I must say, I know what war looks like. And usually war is an equal fight. And I don't see war. Does that make sense, what
Absolutely.
I'm saying?
It's
I don't
not
see
war.
war here.
Yeah.
If I know war. War is you got gloves on. We've got the same gear on. We're the same weight class. We're the same everything.
Yep.
Now we can go to war. This is not the same weight class. That's all I'll say. I don't want to go in too much about it, but because I want to keep it with you and keep it in here. But my heart,
I agree with you. I agree with you.
But my heart wanted to acknowledge
thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah.
I promise.
I've had family members lost.
I've got
in it,
fucking
so,
goosebumps right now, and
yeah.
I'm very, like I said, I'm very angry, extremely angry. And I have done a post on my personal. I'm just letting you know I have done a post because I felt like even though my words might be a pebble throw in the fucking ocean, I just don't want to be the world.
Yeah.
I just don't want to be the world.
Look, awareness is important, man.
100%. So, like I said, I pray, and like I said, I don't see war right now. I see something else which shocks me to the core, because like I said, I'm okay if both sides have equal fight, and it's on. Yeah, it's something. Let's go, but not this thing. Not this thing here. The reason I didn't ask you about, I've got to get my goosebumps down. The reason I didn't say least favourite, and I'll tell you why, is because on the 25th of October 2016, you posted this this post, and it's something you sent me. I'm just going to show you here. Let me bring it up, SMS, because I know I said how I'll find you. And there's Jeff and these photos. Let's just... Right? I know the camera's there, but the camera won't see it too clearly. Remember those photos? You sent them to me.
Yep.
Right? To know who you are. Fuck you, man, you're massive. Anyway, so having said that, you said, so this is how I look 2 weeks out of the Nationals.
Yep.
I totally fucked up. I fucked my size and the conditioning in the last 24 hours.
Yep.
I won't lie. It's very depressing as you suffer a lot in contest prep. But nevertheless, I still placed third in New South Wales.
Australia, that one was,
Yeah. Tell me, please. You elaborate.
You finished the post.
I will definitely redeem myself for next year and be damn sure I don't make the same mistake. And then you've got posing at, Gold Gym Miranda, the best gym in the Shire. Okay, so tell me about that.
So look, that prep was incredible. I was really healthy. I had no injuries, and it was the best I've ever looked. Like, it was ridiculous. And that particular prep, I did no cardio. No fat burning supplements. It's the only one I did with no cardio and fat burning supplements.
I'm listening.
I just really, really wanted to challenge the knowledge of being able to manipulate nutrients and nutrient timing. And I learned a lot that you don't need cardio to get down to 3% body fat.
Yeah.
And I was at 3.5% 6 weeks out. I was shredded. And I had a lot of energy.
That's big 3.5.
Yeah, man.
And a lot of energy.
A lot of energy. The nutrients was spot on. I mean, I was that lean, I couldn't even stand on my feet. My feet hurt so much. There was no fat left on the bottom of my feet. And I was still doing 12 hours of PT a day.
Fuck, that's dangerous, but wow.
Anyone that saw me were like, you're unbeatable. Nobody in your division or your category can beat you. Your lines are perfect. Your symmetry, your muscles are balanced. You're peeled, you're shredded, striated triceps, striated glutes. The whole thing was there. It was world-class level.
So what happened?
So what happened was IFBB is very unorganized in Australia. And that was with, it was the Pro Elite, I think. And
They hadn't split yet?
no, they hadn't split yet. Yeah. So it was, yeah.
Yeah.
And like they said, bodybuilding is all about timing, especially contest days. So, the last 3 days is like water loading, water depletion, sodium in, sodium out, potassium. You're fucking around with some dangerous things.
Yeah.
Some dangerous compounds, some dangerous vitamins. I mean, a little bit more potassium can kill you.
Go on.
I mean, I've tried it all. I've done 3 days with no water, which was very, very difficult. Like I nearly died a couple of times just doing that.
Yep.
Then I figured out you need water. I understand how to manipulate it better. I understand how to keep drinking towards the show and get tighter and fuller. So I had everything perfect. And they said your division's going to be on at about lunchtime. Mate, we went on till about 7:30 at night. From lunchtime till 7:30 at night, I lost 2.5 kilos.
Fuck.
Right?
They've spoken about that at Olympia too.
It's fucked up, man. Like I was flat as a pancake.
They speak about how it fucks up in Olympia too.
Oh, mate. Especially when you're timing your supplements and your food, your sugars, your carb intake. Yeah. The whole entire...
Fuck, you were like a machine.
Yeah. Look, I was very, very scientific. Like I would be weighing blueberries.
Yeah, good.
Literally,
I love it. I
would be pissing into a cup, measuring how much fluid just come out of my body, then replacing it with 50% more. I mean, I would cook my food in all distilled water. I wouldn't even use tap water.
Wow.
Like I would boil my chicken in distilled water.
Yeah.
So it was extreme. So when you do that for 3 months and then they tell you you're going to be on at 12 o'clock, you time it for 12 o'clock. You don't time it for 7 o'clock. Anything changes and
7 hours is a lot.
The physique changes.
7
every
hours,
hour,
man. 7 hours. And an AM and a PM body's different. You know that.
Yeah.
Because of gravity. If you've been lying down and you've been up for only X amount of hours, you know what you're doing with gravity as well.
Mate, every hour your physique looks different.
Yeah.
Like I would check my body at least 20 times a day for 3 months. Just check pose, eat. Okay, well, look a bit flat, a little bit more carbs. What did I do? Trained legs, didn't have too much fluids, blah, blah, blah. So it's all documented. So, I mean, it's scientific. So, yeah, that's what happened. So it pissed me off because I would have won.
So what can I just ask?
So that was a pro qualifier.
What was the bit that fucked up? Was the fact that they changed the times on you?
They changed the time, so I carbed up too early.
Gotcha.
Right, so when you carb up too early, you get a spike of insulin, your sugar levels go up, and you time that so you get your pump and you're your fullest and your driest for your stage presence.
Yeah.
So when that spikes and depletes without getting a pump, it converts into fluid. So by the time you pump up at 7 o'clock at night, you just start pouring rivers. You're just sweaty and you're pouring and you lose all the intramuscular fluid. So that's one thing. As well, timing your supplements that help you stay dry for that particular hour. And if it's not done correctly, you're just going to keep losing fluid. So the main thing is losing fluid. It's very hard to replenish after that. And you just get flat. You get severe cramps. You can't pose properly. You're gassed, your cardio system goes downhill. And you look 20% as good as you looked, when you're day to day. But, that's bodybuilding.
It is because I've heard the same story when it comes to...
Happens to the pros even, man.
Yeah, I've heard it with the pros and Olympians. Because sometimes I watch, I don't know if you watch it, I watch Cutler Cast.
Yep.
I like watching Jay Cutler talk with some of the people, and I like Milosh.
Yeah, Milosh is excellent. I've spoken to Milosh a few times.
Wow, do you know that?
I've spoken to a lot of the pros.
Yeah, well, that's wonderful. Get them on here, man, if you can. Maybe you can sit and host with me. If you can get them on, I'll have you hosting with me.
Oh, look, I haven't been in touch with them for a while, but I was going to work with
But
Milosh.
if you do, and you want to do a podcast with them, because we can do it online with them, I'll have you host with me.
Yeah, maybe.
You can host it. No, I'm telling you. I'm serious. I'm saying, like, if you get me, well, Milosh has replied to me.
Yeah.
He's a gentleman.
Milosh always replies. He's a gentleman.
And he said
Milosh
the reason he can't come on the podcast is he's contracted.
Yep.
Which is fair enough. I can guarantee you that the Olympian board just wants him to be talking to them alone and everything going on around him, and that got fair. But I sent him some photos where Terry was competing with Milosh, and Milosh is in the background. He's appreciated it because I follow Terry and I see the photos and I go, oh my God, Milosh might like this. Yeah. So I sent it to Milosh.
Milosh is a gentleman and he truly loves bodybuilding.
He loves bodybuilding.
And he's also a genius.
He's a fucking genius.
He is a genius. He was a chemist, so he was a chemistry teacher as well. Yeah. So he understands compounds and chemicals and bodybuilding and the way the body reacts very, very well.
Well, listen, man, if they say they want to come on a podcast and you're happy, man, I'm happy to be your wingman. I'll sit with you. You can run the whole fucking podcast.
Look, I've had Phil Heath at the gym before. We're
Wow.
good friends, yeah. Me and Phil are good. So
yeah.
that was a highlight of kind of my career. 2015, I was sponsored by his company.
Yeah, let's
Gifted
talk about that.
Nutrition,
You've been actually scouted.
Yeah, so 2015, I got a email from Gifted Nutrition. That was his prior company. I think he's no longer with them at the moment. And yeah, they offered me the first sponsorship for Australian bodybuilding. And it was awesome, man. It was a dream come true. Phil is a gentleman as a person.
Yeah.
He's a true athlete and he's got some incredible morals. But what I love about Phil is he does truly practice what he preaches. He lives a super clean life. He's got an incredible wife and they're just best friends. And I went to Melbourne with him and we stayed together for a few days and we had breakfast together.
Is he a monster?
He's a monster. Phil, I've been around a lot of pros.
Yeah, go ahead.
But honestly, nobody compares to Phil. Ooh. He's a fucking alien. He's got to have some alien genetics because when you see the quality of the muscle in real life, it's beyond any other bodybuilder. So
how come he didn't go for number 9?
No,
because one to be the ultimate. I mean,
look, never say never.
Lee Haney.
Never say never.
Really?
I don't know. Maybe not. But I have the inkling that he could potentially make a comeback.
He's built to come back. He's already good.
I think he's in better physical health now. So if your health is better, it doesn't matter how old you are.
His skin looks good. He looks good. He looks healthy.
He's phenomenal. He's phenomenal. Yeah.
Well, let me tell you, he's up there with Lee Haney. I mean, far out, just that one more number. And I'm thinking, how do you...
No, Phil's won 7, not 8.
Who else has got 8? Or was it only Lee Haney?
Ronnie Coleman.
Sorry,
Ronnie Coleman, yeah.
I apologise.
That's all right, yeah. Lucky I know my bodybuilding.
Well, I know a little bit myself.
So Arnold's 6.
Arnold, wait a minute. Yeah. I'll tell you now. You tell me if I'm right. We'll play a game show.
Okay.
All right, Arnold is 6, right?
Correct.
Lee Haney is 8.
Correct.
Dorian Yates is 7.
6.
6, got it wrong. And then obviously Phil Heath. Ronnie Coleman is 8.
Correct.
And
Phil is 7.
7.
Yeah.
Maybe you can help me. What happened to Ronnie Coleman? I don't understand. I haven't read about it. I don't read much. I just want to know what happened to him.
Look, I don't know the real story, but coming out of his mouth, when he did that large, I think 880-pound squat for 2, he heard a click in his back and he was fine. He said he went home, he was fine, he kept training, had a shower. This is just what I heard.
Yeah, of course.
And then he needed an operation. So it wasn't the training that fucked his back, it was the operation. So he went to a bad surgeon. I think he had some screws in his back and I think he rolled over one day when he was in a hospital bed, broke something, then he needed to go to another surgeon. So it was multiple surgeries that failed. So I think that's what ruined him.
But how sad is it, man, for the greatest bodybuilder ever?
Not really. I don't see it that way. The way I see it is he was willing to die for the sport.
Okay.
And
I'm with you.
Nobody could ever replicate Ronnie Coleman. I don't think so.
When you look at Phil Heath and Ronnie Coleman, what do you reckon?
Totally different. I still choose Phil over anybody. Okay. So for me, it's Phil and Arnold.
Really?
Yeah, for me, it's Phil and Arnold. I think Phil really morphed through the generations of bodybuilding perfectly. I mean, he's got everything.
All right, so he's at 7, so he's got to do another 2 to get the record. I just wonder, like they get so close. You have to say, what do you think of Lee Haney?
Look, he wasn't my favorite. I don't like his shape.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I don't like his shape.
Yeah, there's something that what about Dorian Yates?
Yeah, I never used to like Dorian, but as I got older, I really just started to admire his physique.
I'm with you. When I was watching him going through the 90s, there was something I didn't like about him. I don't know what it was, but when I look back and I see his symmetry and his design of waist and everything about him, he had a beautiful body.
It was more the muscle maturity he had and the graininess of the muscle, the quality of the muscle that they didn't have that in the 90s. I mean, when you look at like the hardness of the glutes and the back, the lower back, the size of the calves, like small details like the forearms, like Dorian Yates' forearms were like 22 inches.
Yeah, it's
he really...
I think he had the most beautiful legs.
very freaky look. Yeah.
Like when I say symmetrically.
Yeah. I think beautiful is the wrong word for Dorian Yates.
All right, tell me that.
I think you call Flex Wheeler beautiful or Sean Ray beautiful. Aesthetic,
Sean Ray,
soft, clean, smooth, round, full muscles. But I mean, the right word for Dorian would be just freak.
Do you know I saw him in Australia?
Yeah, so did I. Yeah.
Did you go to the show where he was in Liverpool?
Yeah.
Not Liverpool, Petersham or something?
No,
Penshurst?
I went to the one that was in the city. I think it was 07.
Was it off season?
Nah, he wasn't competing then. It was 07.
Yeah, but no, was it his off season or he stopped competing when you saw him?
No, he wasn't competing then. It was 2007.
Yeah, when I I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. 2007. I saw him when he competed.
Yeah.
I saw him on his off season.
Yeah, I was probably too young then.
Maybe you weren't even born. I don't know. I was born in 1969. But having said that, it was at an RSL in Peakhurst. I'm not too sure. The bullshit stops when the shirt comes off. 27th of October, 2016. What does that mean?
Oh, look, just having a little bit of banter there.
You were competing at the time too. I think you were probably just after your comp.
Yeah, look, I remember what
off.
I was directing that to. Just a lot of people, running their mouths.
Oh, nice.
And then, they're not in shape. Like I'm in shape all year round, and like you might see them with a bit of abs, 2 or 3 weeks of the year. But yeah.
You look great, man.
Thank you.
I'm not here to tell you. We've had many bodybuilders in here.
Yeah.
Like
This is just my maintenance,
No, you look great,
I can
man.
manipulate my
You're a
body
good wog.
very, very fast.
You're a good wog.
Proud, mate. Very proud.
I'm wog. So
Yeah,
we're
very
good
proud,
wog.
mate.
Yeah, you're a good wog. You look good, mate. They've got olive skin. I love it.
Thank you.
Looks great. In Greek terms, I'd spit on you. We got
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, but I did it now.
Protect
So
from
there you
evil
go.
eye,
Yeah, there you go. I've done it for you. This is even better. 23rd of February, 2020.
Yeah.
You're in this amazing 3-piece suit.
Yeah, right.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And you posted my hero.
Yeah.
Is that you?
Yeah. I was talking about myself, mate. Who else are you going to look up to?
No, mate. Listen, I'm all right. I'm good with it.
I told you I'm a long-term thinker. It's important to have that, to have a vision of yourself,
All right. Well, let's go a bit further then. 25th of February, 2022. You got the specs on.
Yeah.
You got this fresh haircut going on. You got the beard right. You're in the singlet. And I'm assuming, because I can only see the seat, I could see it was sports car. I'm thinking to myself, Audi, Merc, Maserati. What's he driving? I don't know what he's driving. I'm trying to work it out. But you wrote testosterone on point.
Yeah.
What's that one?
Mate, I think a lot of men have lost their masculinity.
Yeah,
it makes
they
me
have.
sick.
It does make you sick.
It makes me sick. It doesn't make me sick. It makes me sad for them. It makes me sick how cornered they feel to kind of just relinquish their arms as men. And that's annoying. And one thing I do in the gym is I love helping everybody.
Of course.
Man, woman, whatever it is. Teenager, young guy. But the most people I can relate to are men.
Of course.
And because I know how men think and I know how men can feel isolated, and just empowering them to just, get back on their horse and remember who the fuck they are, and remember what their bloodline is, and remember there's been men going down the generation that fought in wars, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 years ago, that died for them to be alive now.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it. I think of my dad, what my dad went through for me to be in this room now, or for me to have a business, or for me to be alive. And 100%. What his dad went through, like the war, the trauma, the lifetime of violence.
Yeah, I'm listening to
just to have me here. So the best I can do is remember my masculine frame. And that doesn't mean walking around like a dickhead. That's definitely not what I'm about. It's remembering your duties, remembering to be the best version of yourself as a man, which is the true meaning is to provide, protect the people you love, have somebody that's reliable, somebody that that can call you and you can fix shit, make things happen, have enough confidence in yourself. When shit does hit the fan, you know how to keep the people you love calm. When someone passes away that you love, or someone gets sick in your family, your sisters, your aunties, your uncles, your cousins come and lay their head on you, and you can help them. The person that the whole family can rely on and live off as well, not just financially, but mentally, and to pass that on to the next generation.
But how do you I'll say you must have a good family.
I have a good family.
You have a good family. I'm not saying I don't.
But I have a great dad.
Yeah,
I have a great dad.
Yeah, see, I don't know. I don't want to say it. I'm not going to say it anyway. Don't put it on record. But family, to me, for me, what I know, what I've done in front of people, but also not in front of people. What I mean is, you're lucky.
I'm very lucky, and
I'll tell you why you're lucky, and you're going to tell me too, and I'm going to tell you too. Your dad, first and foremost, and the fact that you have those people around you that appreciate you or appreciate your stoic, strength, savage, soft, truth, everything you are as a man. I think you're lucky. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Mate, I'm blessed.
Yeah.
I'm so blessed because it's a very difficult journey and a very difficult road to be who I want to be and be who I could become, because society shuns that. They don't like it, especially where I'm at in the North Shore. It's like I've got to fight the fucking the
wokes,
the Karen every day. You know what I mean? The final boss Karen every day. You know, so it's very difficult for somebody that looks like me and acts like me, because I'm not willing to compromise my mindset
and don't
or my integrity.
Don't.
I never would.
I know, but the thing is,
but there comes a lot of obstacles with that.
Yeah, no, it does. But like I said to you, Chris is 23. I told you he's very young, and we're all talking here like a general. But there are so many. I told you, some of the people, the way they talk, especially talk to me, they don't understand me. I've worked you out way before. I'm not trying to say I've worked you out. I'm actually working you out to be not you. The first thing I want to do is get to know you and become your friend. But if you have a different agenda, I'm going to work that out, and then I'm going to come in with a different agenda. So the thing is, a lot of people just talk too much. I'm helping this kid out. I'm just helping this kid out. I won't say any more than that. Right? I'm just not going to say any more than that. But the one thing I said to him is, stop talking. I said to him, you don't need to make promises. Just deliver on the works.
Yeah.
Then I'll find out your promises.
Sure. Absolutely.
That's how I am. Like, you can talk.
Mate, I didn't talk for a year once. I'm not joking.
Yeah.
I didn't talk for a year once because I needed to get strong.
Yeah.
I didn't need to explain myself to anybody or anything. And every single person thought, why are you so? I'm not angry. I'm getting strong. Yeah. So I did that for years, man. In my early 20s, very early 20s, I left school. And the next day, I went to work. I didn't go to schoolies. I didn't party or anything. So when people tell you your 20s are for you to go and find yourself and live your life and party and take drugs and do whatever the fuck you want to do, great if you want to do that. And then good luck being a loser at 35.
Well,
because you're going to have to compete against fucking people like me. I'm telling you that. And I'll fucking rip your head off. Straight out.
What's it called? Isn't it what Joe Rogan said once? You want to be savage in a garden.
Yeah, so you want to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a wall.
Yes. Isn't it how it should be?
For sure.
Yeah, I think it is, because that's what I think.
Sure. It's being ready at all times.
Yeah, the men between the boys. I know. And also know, here we are talking about it. Talk is cheap anyway. But if you know deep in your heart that's what your desire is, it will produce itself at the time of need. That's what happens. But like I said, talk is cheap. We all know that. Talk is...
If you've done the work and you depend on yourself, if you trust yourself deep down, when the time arises, it's autopilot takes over.
True.
It comes out of you automatically. You know what to do. So if you've put the work in, there's no need to panic, or there's no need to be anxious of the future. And that's why I wrote on the post, my hero, because I know what the fuck to do when shit hits the fan.
Well, when I read it, it didn't... to be honest to you, when I read it, I smirked.
Well, who else are you going to rely on but you?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, when I read it, I smirked. Why I smirked was, I get it.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm okay. That comment to me was good.
Look, every man needs...
Someone's going to read that, they're going to think you're egotistical. I know that when you're talking, you're...
Maybe I am.
But it doesn't matter what you are, but what I'm saying is your truth. Is that true?
Absolutely.
That's how I read it. I read truth in that, and I thought, it'd be great for me to write that. Maybe I can't write it or I can't say it in that way. But when you wrote it for yourself, I go, good. That's good. That's exactly what I think you should be, the truth, you know. Do you see business in 2024 and going forward promising in the bodybuilding game, let's call it?
Mate, when it comes to bodybuilding, it depends. Are we talking international or are we talking Australian bodybuilding? Let's talk Australian bodybuilding first.
Yeah, please, yes.
You know, I get on social media. I can see what's going on. I've got ears. Mm-hmm. The quality of physiques these days is very bad. Very, very bad. I mean, it goes downhill every year. And when I look at all these posing workshops, it's like no one's in shape. Like, how are you at a posing workshop about to compete and you're 23% body fat?
Yeah.
And you don't have a physique. Like, you can't go to a posing workshop at 20% body fat.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even go to the fucking beach if I didn't have an 8-pack. I'm not joking, man.
No.
That's the standard that I set myself at. So I don't think it's promising in Australia when it comes to bodybuilding. The physiques are getting worse and worse. Business looks very promising. My business is promising because I'm at the point now where I've earned my street credibility, where word goes around in an area like North Sydney where it's predominantly white people, and I've got nothing against white people. I'm not racist at all. I believe there's good and bad in every culture. I've got some fantastic friends that are Jewish or Muslim or Indians or whatever.
Some cultures turn on themselves enough.
Exactly. So my point is it's a very hard area to have a predominantly bodybuilding gym succeed in the middle of the suburbs with just middle-aged white people. It's like, when I first opened up the gym, all of these industry leaders started to laugh at me saying, what an idiot. He opens up a bodybuilding gym in the suburbs of North Sydney. It's like, do you expect me to go to Chullora or Bankstown? It's like, that's not my style. And I didn't open up my gym to sell 1 million memberships. I opened up my gym to offer people value. So when you come to my gym or you've heard of my gym, you'll understand what I'm about, and you'll understand no matter where the fuck my gym is, nobody can do what I do. Nobody offers the value that I have or have the morals that I have, because I run the gym in such a way that it can't be replicated. It's not a franchise model, even though the brand is a franchise, but it has me in it.
Yeah.
And I built that gym on blood, sweat and tears. So now that I've overcome the obstacles and I've got the confidence, like I said, I've got the confidence in the education, mate, the future looks very bright for me. Very,
and do
very
you see it bright? The hot topic is going to be funny because it's going to, let's not talk business because I'm going to bring in the hot topic. But what about, you mentioned Australian bodybuilding. What about overseas American bodybuilding? How do you see that?
Sadly, I stopped watching the Olympia.
Why?
It was the best time of the year for me. I stopped watching the Olympia when Phil stopped.
And why?
A couple of reasons. Me and Phil actually became really close mates. Like, we still text. I'll text him right now and he'll text me back.
Oh, nice.
Right? We're top friends. We're friends. We're family, right? That's how I see us.
Me and you and Phil. Come on.
So I stopped watching it when Phil stopped. And then I just noticed the physiques getting blown out of proportion with enhancement drugs. And that's not my style. Right?
Because even Jay Cutler's mentioned it a lot. A lot of them are talking about, when I see them talking, because I'm a novice in a way of the way you critique, I don't critique like you. I can't. You're a professional. And so's a lot of you guys.
Yep.
So when I look at it, it looks amazing.
Yep.
But when I hear you guys talk, you guys are going in deep.
Yeah.
And you're pulling apart the thing. And then I realize, my God, it's not at the standard anymore.
Yeah.
Why?
I think they're relying more on the drugs these days. They're training less creative. It's also become a big conglomerate, big business with all these coaches and sponsors and supplement companies. Like, a lot of these coaches don't even coach their athlete. It's just a name. And then the coach comes out with a supplement company. Do you know what I mean? So it's like not even about the bodybuilder anymore. It's about all the sponsors. And I get it. They all have to eat and it's all a business at the end of the day. But I just don't like the physiques anymore, man. They're just blown out of proportion. And they're getting sick. Like they're dying. Like they're not healthy. It's not the epitome of true health. You know, it's not a vision of where you'd want your son to look at, because that's going to develop complexes for the youth. They look at someone that's, 140 kilos at 2% body fat and they're just totally out of proportion. You know, their neck is 24 inches and their arms are still 20 inches. It looks awful. Like the most beautiful era for me was probably the 60s, late 60s, Steve Reeves.
Yeah, that's
right. Yeah. Just the perfect physique. And then the 70s, Arnold, just beautiful
70s
bodies.
Was
then
amazing.
70s and 80s.
Yeah, I know.
90s was still, that's when the freak started to come in. It was
after Lee Haney.
There was different drugs, different compounds was the 90s. And their physique started to morph, but they still looked really good. Every single bodybuilder was still unique. They all look different, but then like, it just started to get ridiculous.
What do you think of, since we mentioned, what do you think of Jay Cutler?
As a bodybuilder?
Yeah.
I never really liked him too much. I thought he was too blocky. But I think he used that to his advantage, and he was a hard contender. He still won, so respect that. But his work ethic, probably the best.
But even
his nutrition, his dieting, his discipline.
And there were certain moments, there was some amazement there. Like his body was...
And he learned how to change his body. And it looked like, he didn't change it for a while, which means it was difficult to change. But he did change it. So, so I respect him a lot as a bodybuilder.
Yeah, I like him.
I like him as a person too. I've met him before, personally, and I respect him a lot. He's very business minded.
He's actually into property. He's quite entrepreneurial. This guy. Yeah. All right, hot topic before we go over the body. Demand and supply. Is there an influx and oversupply or saturations of gyms, coaches, and experts? I remember, like myself in the food game, when I had my shop, I remember in the 90s there was a sandwich shop, then it got saturated with sandwich shops. Then we got cafes, it got saturated by cafes. Yep. And then the council would just put food stores everywhere and take away clothing stores, which ended up destroying suburban shopping. You know what I'm trying to say? Like push everyone to the westward. Are you finding, if we're not careful, there's just an oversaturation of gyms, oversaturation of coaches, oversaturation of experts? Or how do you feel about this? Do you see what I saw in the food game? Because now what's happening is, which could be a good thing, that the little guy's getting squashed out which could be a good thing for goals. What I'm just trying to say to you is, do you see saturation happening? There's too much, not enough. There's too many gyms, not enough supply, which we're all fighting for memberships. So instead of you getting... we'll call it the coffee game. Instead of me getting that customer buying 3 coffees a day, now he spends 1, but he goes to 3 cafes and I only get his 1 coffee.
Yeah. Look, I reckon this is the era for personal branding.
Go ahead. Yes.
So when you come to the large conglomerates that were pretty much predominant, let's say New South Wales would be like fitness first and stuff like that, mainly fitness first. I think that era is gone.
Yep.
Simply because they have nothing to offer anybody except low rates.
Yep.
And there is always a demographic for people that want to save $5 a week. But now it's really about people wanting the education. So when it comes to personal branding, you got to have that value to offer the general public. So if you're charging double, which I think I do, I charge double what Fitness First charge for a membership. Yeah. But I'm doing better than some Fitness First clubs, like the ones in North Sydney. Like I'm smashing them, and I know what their numbers are. I've got people that do their checkups. I've got people that that have my back and let me know what's going on, and that's simply because a cluster of things. Firstly, the equipment is all broken all the time. It's never maintained. Personal hygiene of customers is not maintained, not the gym, personal customers. And then the hygiene of the gym is not good at all. So I have standards. So when someone joins my gym, there's rules that I tell them. So 3 of the main rules is personal hygiene. You always have to also use a towel on all the benches and machines. that's unnegotiable. I'm like the towel Nazi. Like if you don't have a towel, there's no towel, no training. I'll give you a towel. You can buy a towel. I'll lend you a towel, but you have to have a towel. You got to put your weights back, and you got to take care of your personal hygiene. I've already mentioned that because it's about the greater good. So if people feel safe in my gym physically and people feel comfortable, because a gym can be a place where people feel very intimidated, especially a gym like Gold's. And to prove that my gym has it all, I've got grandmas training at Gold's, and they come up to me, and they might be next to a 110 kilo bodybuilder, but he's training respectfully, she's training, and that makes me happy. It's a community gym, you know.
Yeah, of course.
It's a community gym. So the niche that I have is catered to the general public, with a higher education level when it comes to understanding the body, understanding what they need to do next. We offer things that other gyms don't. Like we have a particular membership, our gold membership, gold level, where you can work with me. Like if personal training is not in your budget, I do coaching. I'm $200 an hour, some $250. But if that's not in your budget, even if $100 an hour isn't in your budget, you can jump on our gold membership. Mm-hmm. It's $44 a week, and you can work with me as a coach. I'll do all of your nutrition and I'll do all of your training programs, and I'll adjust them every 8 to 10 weeks. So you're purchasing education. You've got 24-hour access to the whole facility, access to the sauna, unlimited use. So everything. So
I also saw that.
I think it's the story of David and Goliath. Even though Goliath was Palestinian, like me, I'm actually David in this instance.
You're David. Well,
minus the Jewish.
Well, you know what?
No offense.
No offense taken, man. I think I've trained from Mitzel's gym.
Yep.
City Gym, hear me out. Healthlands, River Healthlands.
I do.
I trained Healthlands until Fitness First bought it, then Fitness First.
Yep. And it was half decent then when it was Healthlands. It was actually really good.
It was very good. There was one at Bondi. It was at Bondi.
Yeah,
do you remember that?
Yep. No, I trained at Mossman Healthlands.
Yeah,
it was excellent.
I did Bondi, and then they moved to the city, and then Fitness First bought them out. But the one thing I've seen now that gyms don't understand is once you've trained long enough and you're going to good gyms like your own or going to other good gyms, you start to realise when equipment is second rate, you wouldn't even use that in your home.
Yeah.
It's like home style gyms.
Yep.
And not only that, not enough benches, not enough bench presses. It's so important if you're wanting customers to come back, and bodybuilding is the longevity of life. It's the fountain of youth. But then again, like I said to you, you haven't reached the finish, nor have I. We know you stop training for 6 months, you're back, not at square one, but you're back to try to come back. You're always coming back.
Yeah.
So I think that, like you said, I think the gyms that are going to, and the industry that's going to make it is all brand. You work on your brand, and people are happy to wear your brand. Yep. Train at your brand. Yep. Have a towel from your gym. Walk out the front door of your gym. Walk in the front door of your gym. And
I'll be honest with you, man. I like the gyms that are selling memberships for $12 a week.
Yeah.
Because there's a demographic for that.
Yeah,
and I don't want members that only want to spend $12 a week coming to my gym, because usually those people are not disciplined. They're dirty, they're not bringing their towels, and they're not respecting rules, because that's how much they value their health at $12 a week.
Yeah, of course.
The people that come to my gym spending $38, $44 a week, they're really into it, man. They want to learn from the best. They want to use the best equipment. They want to have, a clean gym, and they don't mind paying that little bit extra.
It's like food.
Exactly.
You want grass-fed? You want grass-fed, or do you want seed-fed meat? You know what I'm trying to say? You want good quality? You want a proper chef? You're going to pay for it, or you can go and find the $8 steak. Or
Stop scrolling. Do you want to score yourself $250 worth of Papa Macros meals? Now's your chance. Go to threeog.shop or
Go to Papa Macros and use the code MuscleTalks at checkout.
go get it now.
we're going to go over the body now.
Let's go.
You ready to go over the body? All right, first let's check with Chris. Cameras, how's the cameras, Chris? Yeah, we're good, okay. All right, we're going to go over the whole body. I'll say the body part, just an exercise, sets and reps. I know it sounds repetitive, maybe the sets and reps,
no, it's good,
but what I mean is what we do is we break it down, and it becomes on social media, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, which is one that not many are training at the moment for some reason, but traps. You train traps?
Traps. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Traps is a very misconceived muscle. You see a lot of people doing fuckloads of shrugs. Do they stimulate the trapezius muscle? Yes. Is there certain portions of the trapezius muscle that don't get stimulated from a shrug? Absolutely. If I was to pick one exercise to build the shrugs, it would actually be the deadlift. The deadlift is the best builder for your traps.
Deadlift?
Correct. That's why you see CrossFitters that are out of balance, because usually CrossFitters are lifting with bad form, so their traps become overdeveloped. I don't know if you understand the trapezius muscle development, but it goes all the way from your back down to your mid-thoracic.
Yep.
Shrugs, do they help? Yes, they do. It's a stretch and a contraction of the muscle. However, it doesn't stimulate the whole entire upper back, which is predominantly 70% traps.
So when you look at a deadlift, are we talking about
Conventional deadlift off the floor.
So yeah, and well, how would you call it in sets and reps then?
Well, it depends on what kind of program you're doing and what your goals are, if it's hypertrophy or strength.
So let's say we're going for a hypertrophy.
Look, hypertrophy is always over 7 reps all the way up to 20 to 30 reps. But
Sets?
Sets for deadlifting, it depends on your workout plan. It depends on how many accessory movements you're doing. But I mean, if you are deadlifting purely for strength, you'd keep it at around 3 reps, 3 to 5. Can you build muscle on 3 to 5 reps? Do I do it? Yeah, bloody oath. I love doing lower reps on deadlifts. I love doing low reps on everything.
But you pack it on.
It depends on the exercise, and it depends where I'm at in my training.
Yeah.
And it depends on the day. So I'll go by feel, it depends on my nervous system. If I'm feeling it, I'll put a bit more weight on. If I'm following a specific program and my program says stick to 100 kgs today and I'm feeling strong, I'm still going to stick to 100 kgs because I need space to move the following weeks. So yeah, shrugs, deadlifts.
Okay. And I just want to quickly, I know we're in the body at the moment. What do you think of C-Bum? We talked about it.
I think he's got a few really good shots. I don't like his bicep development. Something's going on there with his arms. They don't look right to me. He's got a few strange origin and insertions going on in the quads. Looks a bit funny to me. The lines aren't crisp and clear. He looks good as a package from head to toe. What's his best shot? To me, definitely his side chest. He's got some great development going along the hamstrings, along the glutes. Side chest is good. But yeah, all in all, I think he's pretty good. He's a good contender. He's made some good changes and good progress over the years at Olympia. So I think he's got a good frame.
Any classic guy that you think is not being looked at strong enough?
The one that I really liked was Breon, but I think he's moved up to the 212 class now.
Oh, has he?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I just thought I'd throw that in. Delts, out of delt?
So again, I mean, it depends on your structural balance or your structural imbalance. But I mean, in a nutshell, it doesn't mean a side lateral dumbbell is going to work the outer cap of your delt. This is where a lot of bodybuilders go wrong. They'll just keep using these, specific exercises. I mean, there's several ways to perform a side lateral. You could do it off a bench. You could do it from behind your back. You could do it facing the front. You could do it facing the side. You could do it with a barbell and still hit it. You could do it with a cable. You can do it with a rope. So overall development, I think the first thing for your shoulders is always to analyze and understand what's happening with your posture. So over anything, posture is crucial. If your posture's off, then any exercise you do to try and amplify a certain area in your muscle is going to be off. So posture over everything. Train your posture, train your postural muscles, and then you can start hammering your isolation movements. Because if you're hammering isolation movements before your posture is on point, then you're going to have severe structural imbalances, which leads to an ugly physique, which leads to more structural imbalances and injury, of course.
So tell me then, posture development. No one's ever said that to me.
Yeah, well, okay. So posture would be your remedial exercises.
Which are?
For shoulders would be things like redelt rows, face pulls, external rotations, Cuban presses, T3 raises. These are all prehab, and they can be used for rehab as well. The best postural exercise is the deadlift. It trains the largest muscle group in your body, which is your posterior chain. Yeah, absolutely. So if your posterior chain is strong,
need to bring deadlifts in there.
Mate, deadlifts are a must, and they don't. It doesn't need to be heavy. It doesn't need to be heavy at all. It's very important. It's the greatest longevity movement. You can have the best shoulders. I've seen guys with great shoulders, great thick chest, great thick arms, very weak lower backs, bulging discs, big quads. It's all structural imbalances. So the posterior chain is very, very important for your longevity.
Wow, I'm gonna incorporate deadlifts, Chris. So, all right, let's just say this is just meat and potato things. Like we're not.
Yep.
So, because the deadlift seems like it's a no-brainer for everything we do here.
Yep.
Chest, back,
Yep.
abs,
Yep.
quads,
Yep.
glutes. You're always gonna be talking about the fact is posterior, right? Or and how, and also possibly all these.
Well, not chest.
No, but all right. But what I'm alluding to, but still, deadlifts will help in general.
It's the number one fat burning exercise.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Right.
I'm going to do it now.
It'll train the most muscles at one point out of any exercise. It's the best bang for your buck exercise. It's the best postural exercise. It's the best core exercise. So there's a lot of value in that exercise when performed correctly. It's a basic movement, but I always tell everyone, when you know the basics, they're not that basics. These things get, these are deal breakers with millimeters. Like you can hurt yourself when you're millimeters out, and you can lift great weights when your millimeters are correct or the angle's correct.
So I'm going back to deadlifts. I was doing deadlifts during COVID when I bought it from my son, and me and my son were deadlifting. He was all right. What was he? He reached at 16, 165.
Yeah. Well, listen, it's not the weight you lift; it's how you lift it.
I know, but it was
Right?
father against son, so we were going for it. But I probably lifted it like shit anyway. So let's just go back with outer delts. Would you be okay with dumbbell flies, or would you prefer a cable fly?
Always dumbbells.
Dumbbells?
Yeah.
How many sets and reps, let's just say?
Look, I would go 5 sets, and I would go 6 to 8 if you want to get some beefy delts.
Yeah, beefy.
Keep the reps low to moderate. Keep your form over everything, posture over everything.
Okay, redelts?
Yeah, redelts. I use dumbbells. I like to do a redelt row, which you bent over at 45 degrees.
Yep.
You row with your elbows out, not your elbows tucked in.
Row out?
Yep, row
I've not
out.
done that.
Yeah, well, if you row with your elbows in, you're going to use your
back?
your lats more, your teres major, your teres minor grip.
Out.
Yeah. So as
like
well,
that.
external rotations. That's a prehab move. Face pulls.
Sets and reps?
Yep. Look, with the face pulls and the prehab moves like external rotations, you'd go from anywhere from 12 to 15, even 20.
Yep.
These are these are floating muscles that help support your shoulder health.
Yep.
It's a different layer of muscle than superficial. So they do perform better with high reps. However, you do have to challenge the muscle with more intensity week to week.
Sets?
Yeah, I'd go 4 or 5 sets always.
So what you're saying is probably a bit more, you have to put mind over matter in it. You have to really focus in with your mind. You have to feel it. Is that what you're trying to
it's
say?
learning how to move your body correctly. A lot of people don't know how to move their body. That's why they perform the exercise wrong. Therefore, they get wrong muscle development. So you need an expert to show you how to do the exercise correctly. And there's always a mind and muscle component, right? But when it's a specific movement that's really ideal for bodybuilding, the mind and muscle connection is when and I've always said this to my clients, it's when you can link your subconscious to the physical, which is your body, because something magic happens there. I don't know exactly the science behind it, but something in the deep mental connects into your muscle tissue, and there's a command that takes over in your mind where you command a certain muscle to want to grow or perform or contract in a certain angle or a certain way. It's sort of like manifesting it to grow, but you're also manifesting it into reality. It's a little bit spiritual.
Yeah, no, well, I think bodybuilding is spiritual, and I think a lot of times some of your work is happening outside the gym. Front delts?
Front delts, shoulder press, barbell or dumbbell.
Okay, sets, reps?
Keeping it with the dumbbells, always keeping it between 6 and 8. Barbells, I like to keep it between 4 and 5 reps.
Wow, that's some weight on there.
Yeah.
Sets?
Yeah, probably 3 to 4 sets.
Nice, beefy ones. Back?
Back, again, I think deadlift and chin-ups are the best developers.
Yeah, chin-ups, eh?
Deadlifts and chin-ups. I mean, you could just do deadlifts and chin-ups forever and build a phenomenal back. And not only are you going to build a phenomenal back, it's going to be functional.
Wow, sets and reps?
Chin-ups, if you can, mate, as many as you can do. But if you're doing more than 10, my recommendation would be to add weight and keep the chin-ups between 4 and 8 repetitions, and sets between 4 and 6 sets.
I'm going to give that a go. Chest?
Chest, it has to be the bench press. It's the king.
Barbell, dumbbell?
Barbell.
Right.
Barbell. I've always chosen barbell.
Incline or flat?
Mate, both. But if I had to choose one, for development, I would choose the incline, simply because from a strength perspective, your incline is 30% weaker than your flat. Therefore, if you can get stronger with your incline barbell press, you're going to be 30% stronger when you automatically jump into your bench press without practicing bench press.
Wow.
So as well, your incline pecs, 70% of your pectoralis major is predominantly, as they call, incline, right? You can't really group the muscles like that. But when your arm is stretched out and your pec, starts in your sternum and crosses all the way across your humerus, 70% of the muscle is incline. So you're going to recruit a lot more muscle pressing with a barbell on a 45-degree angle.
Nice. Sets and reps?
Mate, it depends. It depends. But I always used to keep this reps low. And low for that would be between 5 and 7, and then try and do a little bit of volume at the end. But I'd always keep a little bit of energy, a bit of glycogen. The volume, I'd kind of save it to the cables and stuff. But I'd put all of my emphasis first in the compound movements.
Okay. Bicep?
It's got to be the barbell, man.
Barbell curls?
Yeah.
Sets reps?
Yeah. Look, you can do triples on barbell curls and still grow arms. Biceps are really smart because we use them for everything.
Yeah.
So you can train your biceps every 48 hours, right? So it doesn't matter how you train your how heavy or light you train your biceps, they're always going to adapt and grow. I mean, the fear factor is hurting your bicep, overtraining it. So variation is key. Using your grip strength to your advantage is important, and making sure your bicep the bellies are always massaged. That was something I always did. I always pulled and I always massaged the biceps, because they're overused and they connect into your forearms, which are stabilizing muscles. They can get very tight, and you got to keep that muscle tissue, that muscle belly, nice and soft.
Sets and reps?
Sets. Look, my favorite is 6 to 8 on biceps.
Yeah.
And mate, I used to do 50 sets on arms.
Oh, wow.
And that was my fun day. That was every Saturday, and it was 50 sets, 25 sets on biceps, 25 sets of triceps. The ultimate way, in my opinion, in building big arms is supersetting biceps and triceps always. Always.
Right.
Something happens, mate, when
supersetting them together.
You superset them one by one try. The tissue is just stretches.
No, I like it.
And the nutrition around the session is very, very important.
I haven't done it before.
No, it's the only way to train.
No, sorry. I've done it before. I haven't done it for a long time.
Yep.
So tricep, are we going dips?
Dips 100% for triceps, yeah.
Okay. How many sets and reps?
Yeah, keep the dips low, 6 to 8. If you can do 8 easily, you're wasting your time. Add some weight.
Forearm?
Forearms.
Not many people train.
Interestingly I do train forearms. Look, the best exercise for forearms is a hammer curl. Hammer curl. Right? And funnily you say that because it's the way you hold something is what's going to grow your forearms. So gripping is the best exercise. So gripping tight on anything is the best exercise for forearms because they're stabilizer muscles. Right? But if you really want to start doing contractions and reps and sets on them, hammer curl across the shoulder, on top of the shoulder, hammer curl across the body is really good. Plate raises, that's going to work your brachioradialis, and that ultimately when your brachioradialis, which goes underneath your long head bicep, gets thicker. If you notice Arnold, he had a really big lump here, which was the brachioradialis, that pushes the long head up and it gives you a very, very high peak on the bicep.
It's funny because everyone seems to throw hammer curls as a bicep curl.
It's definitely not biceps. That's because everyone doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about when it comes to this.
And I'll say to you that
even an easy bar is not a bicep exercise. It's predominantly 85% a forearm brachioradialis exercise. And even Mike Mensa says that.
Because I know when I've done in the past, we're talking about decades back, hammer curls, I've always said this thing's hitting my forearms.
Yeah.
So I never
Forearms brachoradialis.
Yeah, and that's where I was confused. Everyone's showing these hammer curls.
Yeah.
I'm glad there's someone that's in a little agreement with me because I wondered. Abs,
deadlifts.
deadlifts again.
Deadlifts. It's a core exercise, mate.
I love it.
Bench press as well. Believe it or not, it's hitting your abs. But look, if you want to do some isolation, there's deep down abs, right? There's your transverse process and just your transverse abdominis. Transverse abdominis, not process. Look, crunches are also great. I do them too, but they're not going to give you a strong core. That's the misconception.
Yeah, they won't.
Crunches will sharpen up your waist, tighten up the muscles, the obliques. It'll also thicken the muscle of the abdominal wall, but it's not deep down core strength. So it's important to use both.
I like it. If you were going to do a crunch, what would you do?
I like doing it across a Bosu ball. That way I get the full flexion and contraction.
Sets and reps?
Yeah, mate, I'll go. It depends on how much they're cramping, but I mean, I'll do anything from 200 to 300 every other day.
One set?
No, in sets.
In sets. Yeah, I gotcha.
Probably 30 to 40 a set.
Wow.
Yep.
Love
And then
it.
if I wanted to really get them thicker, when I was younger, I would do the same exercise holding a 25 kilo plate.
Yep, I know that. Quads?
Quadriceps definitely would be a high bar, heels elevated back squat.
You know who else said that? Women's bodybuilder open, Chelsea Dion.
Yep.
She came just 8th recently in 8th and 9th in the Olympia.
Yep.
2 years running, and she said the same thing.
Well, there you go, man.
And she said heels up, and the reason you have heels up is you get stretch. You open up the quad more. Going down, when you go down, you got
you're gonna get a deeper stretch, a deeper squat, but it's the foot position that matters. It's pushing up through the ball of the foot that matters, which adds a lot more pressure on your VMO, which is the front of the quadricep muscle down here, the classic T-drop muscle. But it's also the angle your body goes down into. So, there's so many variations of a squat. There's, a sumo squat, there's a standard foot position, there's your low bar, your high bar squat. With every compound exercise, you can tailor it and change the angle to put more emphasis on an area of the muscle. So, there's 4 sections of your quadricep.
Yeah, there is. So how many sets and reps on that squat?
So you'd go for a bit more volume. So I would suggest 8 to 12.
Yep.
8 to 10, 8 to 12 sets, 5 sets.
5 sets. Hammies?
I'm not really into the 3-set 12 thing. I like doing high sets, like 5 sets, low repetitions. Sometimes I'll do 10 sets of leg press on 6 reps.
Like I said, I'm listening. Hammies?
Hamstring, definitely your straight bar deadlift or your Romanian deadlift is the correct word.
Yeah, ideal. So.
It's a beautiful exercise. It's functional. It works your SI joint, which is very important to be strong. Of course, your posterior chain. And then you definitely follow it with your isolation movements. Your laying hamstring, standing hamstring, seated hamstring curl. But it's important to open up that muscle because they call it the leg bicep muscle. So
So an ideal sets and reps?
I'd keep it between 8 and 12. Loading up that weight and going too heavy. If you're a bodybuilder, which means you're doing a lot of volume, I wouldn't go too heavy. You'd hear a few snaps there.
Okay. Glutes.
Glutes is squats. Glutes is deadlifts. Definitely not doing a hip thrust. I don't want to see that fucking shit ever. Firstly, it doesn't work. And it's okay if you're a girl, but if you're a man doing hip thrusts, you should be very upset because it upsets me.
I said it in one of the podcasts, and
why would you do that when you can
squat on
squat?
my own for a little while until they called it zesty? It's a little zesty.
Yeah. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, no.
Mate, do some squats.
Yeah,
do
I agree.
Nice,
I agree.
Deep
When I see the glutes, that guy's doing it, I
ass to
think.
grass squats and you'll be right.
Okay. Calves.
Calves were never my strong point. However, they got to a decent level because I smashed the shit out of them. Again, you can go low reps. I actually like starting off my calves by decompressing the ankle joint, sitting down on the seated calf raise.
And decompressing.
And just letting it sit there before starting the contraction.
Cutler said that. And he also said if you're going to do...
Who said that?
Cutler.
Okay.
Jay Cutler.
Yeah. Oh, Cutler. Yeah.
Yeah, Jay
There
Cutler.
you go, mate.
And also he said if it was calf day,
Yeah.
let's say it was calf and quads,
Yeah.
let's just say he'll do calves first.
That's what I used to do. So when mine changed, I was doing calves first every other day. And, you know, I had really good calf genetics, it turned out to be. It's just they weren't developed. So calves first, get some, stretch them, do some volume, get some blood flow, and then keep the reps low because you're using them all day. So for you to get the same type of stress as in walking, you know, doing 15, 20,000 steps a day isn't going to work when you're doing high reps. You're going to have to get some heavy 6 to 8 reps in there.
True. Tibialis?
Tibialis anterior, the tibialis machine.
Yeah.
I've got one at Goals.
The sitting.
Exactly. Yeah. They're hard to find. Yeah.
I train at Hardcore. You know Carlton, Hardcore?
No.
Yeah. It's only a male only gym, by the way.
Really?
No girls. Because the Muslims there.
Yeah, right.
I think they do it. I think they do it. I love it. First and foremost, I love it. To be honest, I go in and do the job and get out. I love the gym. I love training
good,
there.
you know.
And it's the
good.
young boys. You know,
No thirst traps.
No thirst traps at all. It's beautiful, man. So what did you say for tibialis? Oh, the machine?
Machine, yeah.
Sets and reps?
Oh, mate, high reps. It's a stabilizer muscle. Yeah, reps between 8 and 15.
Well, mate, this is your moment to promote yourself. Tell us where we can find you on Meta, TikTok, YouTube, websites, businesses, whatever. So, yeah.
Steve, do I really need to promote myself?
Well, mate, let me tell you now, you have kept me on my toes through this whole podcast, not in a good way. I promise you, I respect you a lot. I'm not here to tell you.
Likewise.
Yeah. And I have to say, you know, the meeting has been thrilling for me. And like I said to you, you've kept me on my toes with your knowledge, your investment in the sport, your conviction in the sport, your personality, your drive, your eyes, everything. I've been paying attention to everything. But thankfully, I've kept on my game. I probably could do a bit better.
No, thanks, Steve. It was great, man. You're a good guy. I like you. You're real. I can tell.
I am real. Nothing changes.
You're loving. You're a compassionate guy. I can tell that.
I am.
Yeah, man. Good luck to you and your show. And maybe we can do a part 2 at Golds.
Mate, firstly, I would love to do part 2 of Goals. I'd love to have a workout with you. Not that this is nothing mandatory, but I tell you what, if you can get Phil Heath on, I'll give you you wear your Goals
Mate,
cap.
Phil Heath wouldn't even go on Hanny's podcast.
What? But he was recently.
He was, but Hanny said to him, and you know this is public information. He said, "Will you open up my podcast on episode 1?" And Phil Heath said, "Hell no." And I really respect that. It's because he's like, "Man, you need to build your profile before you get me on your show. I'm not going to build your profile. Like, yeah, we're buddies, but I'm the fucking best in the world. People pay me big money to get on these podcasts. I don't think I can do that.
No, but you tell Phil Heath this.
But what I can maybe do, if Phil does visit Sydney, we'll definitely meet up and he'll possibly come to the gym and I'll give you a call and maybe you can come and get a picture of him.
I would love that. But you can tell also Phil Heath that we're underdogs. I'm an underdog.
Yep.
And that we are 40 podcasts in, so we're not number 1.
Yep.
And 2, we could always do with a leg up. That's the truth. Mate.
Steve, thank you, mate.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
Pleasure.
You're a champ.
Pleasure's all mine.